All right, good Friday morning. It's Football Friday Fiesta. Football is back. We're off the bye week. Thank God for 3 o'clock tomorrow so we can have some football. Then talking about Michigan. Michigan beat Nebraska. Then talking about, I think the line might be too large. I think the line is a little bit too large. I'm not sure what the line is should be.
Why are you making fun
I'm not
of
making
me?
fun. What, you think that was about you?
Yeah, I didn't even think it was about
I didn't know
you.
that was about you.
It was a lot of people.
Yeah. To the general, you know what? At some point you just go, you know what? Nebraska had a Michigan problem, but Nebraska is still Nebraska. And I like Nebraska. And I think Nebraska will play well. Now, 11.5 is kind of large. Do what you will with that. I'm not giving, I do not run a sports book, so I am not giving out advice.
Just win.
But that's become a discussion. Well, you know what? The line is, you know what? Maybe sometimes Vegas is right. Okay. Vegas is right. Can we accept that? But at least we get a football game so we can stop talking about Michigan and we can see what we've never seen before. I can't wait.
October, your kind of weather.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
You've hit all the high points in the first 2
I'm ready to go. I'm ready for football. It's nice to have, you know what? Bye weeks are nice. We get to sit back, and the last weekend was a good weekend just to watch ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to consume ball. And that window, that 2:33 window tomorrow is dandy.
That'd be a double TV day in our house.
You know, it is funny, though. We have talked a lot, like even because we talk about the lines all the time because Mick Sportsbook over. Well, I mean, you're very good at it, too. But the line has been.
No, I do not run a sports book.
No, you don't run a sports book.
I just play for fun and games.
But you're a better gambler than I am.
Oh, what a compliment. That's nice. All right.
I just don't.
No, you said something nice.
I just don't go somewhere and follow up what I say on the air. I just like to have fun. People shouldn't take my advice.
First off, not a compliment, okay? It was more so just a fact because we have this picking game that we do where Gary is kicking my ass currently. So it is just kind of, at this point, in writing that he is statistically a better than I am. Secondly, we have people on the station who rarely talk about it, who are talking about circus sports and how the line is moving and how it opened here and it went there and the total's this and the total's that. And they're talking about weather and how it affects. I feel like I'm having an adverse effect. Everybody's becoming the Mick Sportsbook here.
Yeah? Are they having more success than you?
Probably. I'm having
Can you take some credit for that you inspired a new generation of sports gamblers?
Do you know what this has come down to is Mac Jones yesterday, I bet his under on 218 yards, and he got injured at 214, and I feel terrible about it, but I kind of cheered. I kind of got excited.
He's well compensated.
I was like, all right, cool, we're going to go. It took us an injury to cash. And then he went back out there and I got pissed off. And then he blew by the total.
Yeah.
I would have taken the
you know what? I was a big fan of overtime because of Christian McCaffrey. But good morning, everybody. Happy beers were consumed in Wrigleyville.
Yeah.
We're off to the LDS. We're coming for you, Milwaukee. I have a little bit of a dilemma, though.
Whoa. Why?
The Brewer Cubs series.
Why is that?
One, the game was getting into attention convention when I was starting TV last night. So I was trying to follow along as the game was starting, and I was bombarded by baby powder.
What?
So we did the Ralston Creek game last night over on CW on Thursday Night Lights. And where we were located was behind the Ralston student section.
Oh, there we go.
So it was homecoming.
They all went
last
LeBron.
night. And it must be a tradition, or maybe it's just for their whiteout, but they did a whiteout and they did it really well. It was a great atmosphere there last night. There's a lot of good things happening in the Ralston School District. Mr. Buckingham, who was the superintendent, used to be the football coach there. They've got a lot of great things like their facilities. They had a bond issue they passed, and they did the elementary schools. They did the junior high. Now they've done the high school. They got turf fields. They got a great gym. I mean, there's a lot of great things going on with Ralston. So last night they had a good student turnout. It's homecoming. And they did a whiteout.
Okay.
I am not familiar with this tradition. And where the wind was blowing and where we were located, they threw baby powder in the air at kickoff. So I'm trying to describe the kickoff, and I was
south wind blowing that. Yeah.
Well, like I picked up my phone because I was kind of watching it was just the start of the ninth inning.
Okay.
I'm like, my phone is caked in baby powder. I go, I haven't gone home with baby powder on me since I left the hospital in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, when I was born.
So the phone smells good.
Yeah, the phone smells really, really good. But happy beers in Wrigley, and holy schlit.
What?
Holy schlit.
I knew what you were saying for a second. I thought you were saying something else, even though I knew what you were saying.
What are you schlitting about?
Did you not,
the
did
pitcher.
you not see the youngster
pitcher, yes.
that propelled the New York Yankees
Both
into
of-
the LDS as they beat the Red Sox? But here's my dilemma with the Cubs Brewers series.
Okay.
The game 1 in Milwaukee is tomorrow at 1:08.
Yes.
It would be ideal if Carlos Zambrano threw out the first pitch in that game. That would be
Nice.
great.
That'd be great.
So you got the Nebraska game, which starts 2 hours later, and then they take a day off. So Sunday, I'm like, okay, the Chiefs don't play.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, who knows what I'm going to do. I don't have a football game until Monday night. Well, guess what's going on at the
Double
same time?
dilemma.
Yeah. Cubs and Brewers are taking Sunday off, and game 2 is Monday night, all right at the same time as the Chiefs and Jaguars.
Whoa, wait. They're taking Saturday and Sunday?
Sunday.
No, Sunday.
They're
okay.
playing Saturday.
Game 1 Saturday,
they
game
play
2 Monday.
tomorrow. Okay. Sounds like okay. I'm doing the math.
Yeah,
I
know.
wish
you were up late last night listening to Taylor Swift. So.
Mhm.
I did not listen to one song, 1 minute, 1 second of Taylor Swift.
Rolling Stone gave it a 5 out of 5. Very poppy.
Wow.
Um,
Everybody on my Instagram apparently was
people are having
listening
listening
to that.
parties.
Yeah.
Like there are listening parties in this town.
I was having a sleeping
one
party.
of the stations here that is in our building had a listener party.
The
Like a
Keg?
yeah.
Coil?
No, I think it was Power.
Oh.
It's like a promotional listening party. I'm going to listen to it eventually. But we
No,
have
you're
so
not.
Yes, I
You
am.
don't
On
have
the
to
way to
just-
Lincoln?
You don't have to just say that. You're not
No.
a Taylor Swift fan.
Okay. Time out.
You're on record as saying that, and that's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that.
I'm not a Taylor Swift stan like you are.
No
I'm
Mick
not
Swiftie?
obsessed and love it like you
I'm
do.
not obsessed, but I feel like if I went to her concert, which I did, and at her concert where her now future husband made a move.
Yeah, you saw history made. You saw lives
I was
changed.
a little late. I wasn't sitting in as good seats to get access. Not that I would have. I got too many things going on.
Is Travis
I got-
lucky that you weren't in the opportune area?
Much
to
like
make a
Paul
move on
Skeens?
his now
I
fiance?
think after listening to like the first track this morning, I think he's lucky that they're still together. She doesn't really have any no diss tracks. Well,
Are you
apparently-
disappointed?
Well, because that's like her thing.
Yeah.
Like you try and figure out who is she dissing.
She's happy.
yeah,
is
it's like
When you're happy,
Rolling
you don't
Stone
diss.
gave it a 5 out of 5.
That's incredible.
That's so. If you were up listening in the
I'm
listening
not,
party
I'm not.
last night and you're a little bit, the head's clouded, I understand.
Mhm.
But 2:30 tomorrow, you have Texas, Florida.
Yes.
You have Vandy, Alabama. You have Maryland. Please pay attention to Maryland. But if they lose to Washington tomorrow, don't pay attention to Maryland until next week. But then you have Nebraska, Michigan State at 3.
Yeah.
So the sports day is pretty good tomorrow. Sorry that you lost your Mac Jones prop, but is Mac back?
Yeah. Well,
Mac should stay the quarterback of the Niners for at least a month. Let Purdy in that toe heal, because last night, the 49ers in overtime. We don't like no ties around here. Sean McVay, he don't like no ties. No ties. And the Niners pulled off, I think, one of the bigger upsets.
oh, it's got to be.
Yeah.
I think.
And win in overtime last night against the Genius and the Los Angeles Rams.
I think if we're going off spreads here, the top 3 upsets have been Cleveland over Green Bay, the Giants over the Chargers, and then yesterday San Francisco over the Rams. I have beef with somebody.
Oh,
Sean McVay.
No.
Okay.
a coworker?
I was a 50-50 on Sean McVay on the final play. I'll explain here in just a minute.
Brett Coleman. You
Oh, of
Brett Coleman?
course.
Major beef with him because I was listening
No
to the
clue.
Mina Kimes podcast yesterday, as you know, big fan. And
I know Derek Coleman.
Huge fan.
he said, and I quote, "It will have to take a small miracle for the San Francisco 49ers
Yeah.
to beat the LA Rams, given all the injuries, given everything." And so in listening to that at 11:15, at 11:16, I texted my survivor pool guy, "Hey,
Oh,
I'm
you're out.
taking the Rams."
Oh.
You got to
It's-
think for yourself.
Oh.
Absolutely terrible. A just complete calamity. And when it was
Think
20
for
to
yourself.
20
Question
and they
of
had the
authority.
ball, I was like, all right, we're cool. We're chilling. Like they're going to go down. They're going to drive here. They're going to score. We're going to be okay. We go to overtime. It's 4th and 1.
Yeah.
I'm literally coach's stanced. Okay. I am like
Wow.
standing up, hands on knees over
I
a
used to be like
Thursday night
that.
football game on Prime with Al Michaels giving zero energy of the call. And then they lost. It was terrible.
Ooh.
Hmm. No
I
energy?
will say I looked at it, so I eventually went with the Vikings playing in London against the Browns and Dylan Gabriel.
That's a good call.
But
man.
I did think about the Rams for a moment because I said I wasn't really going to watch the game,
Yeah.
except for fantasy purposes. And then as we were kind of watching it as we were doing a game last night, I kept updating Todd. I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, because he's he kind of likes the Niners,
Yeah.
with its connection to Brock Purdy at Iowa State. So I was like, wow, this game's a lot closer. And then we're able to get home and, be disappointed that I had listened to Al Michaels, who kind of had some interest and didn't have some interest. But at the end of the game last night, so it goes to overtime. If you missed it again, the Niners won. I think Sunday night changed the opinion of Sean McVay. So it's 4th down and 1, and they're 2 yards from paradise. And instead of kicking a field goal to tie it, because we had a tie and everybody spent a week talking about we don't like ties, they go for it, which I think was the right move. I'm not an analytic guy, but I thought it was the right move. I thought it was the wrong play for Boy Genius, who he'll remember that play for a long time, because why would you run Williams right up the gut? Okay, I did not like that play. I like the decision to go for it, but the Niners, that's a huge victory. Like thankfully they still have a couple of guys on defense, which you go, okay, I recognize him. But man, they are the walking wounded. And Mac Jones, 3-0 as the starting quarterback of the Niners. We're back, baby. Unfortunately, his prop. I'm sorry.
Well, I told you yesterday, I go, what if Mac's back? What if, like, the excitement of a first-round pick? And you told me, I don't care. He's not back. He's terrible. And I thought the same thing.
I didn't say he was terrible.
Okay.
I just said he is not a he's not a top-tier quarterback in the NFL.
We need to have the opposite. Is there the opposite of freezing cold takes? Like, is there a Twitter that has
there
red
is.
hot takes? Because Dan Orlovsky a year ago said that if Mac Jones was on the San Francisco 49ers, he would beat Brock Purdy. That was a legitimate.
Was that who would Brock Purdy be?
Was that like a compliment?
No, that was like a compliment to Kyle Shanahan.
Okay.
Being like, hey, Kyle Shanahan is so good that
Quarterback
Mac could be there. And I don't even know if Mac was on the Niners at the time when Orlovsky said that take.
Still in Jacksonville?
And he got run through, put through the ringer. And he's absolutely right. They looked incredible. They were smooth. They were fast. He was quick to the ball. Mac Jones was tough yesterday. He took a bunch of hits. He nearly got knocked out of the game.
The next Joe Montana.
No, I think for the next month, I
don't think it's
Purdy,
a bad
Purdy
take.
doesn't come back until he's about 100%, because I think they can navigate with Mac Jones in a very difficult division.
Toes don't
heal. But now they just went to Los Angeles and won. That's pretty impressive.
And I agree with you with the why do you run the ball there? Just because they were passing the ball with such great efficiency right before that play. I mean, they were carving up the Niners, even starting in the fourth quarter. I do think, Gary, this is kind of what you get when you don't have an athletic quarterback in the red zone on 4th and 1, just because.
Is this a Dylan take?
No.
Okay.
No.
I just want to prepare myself.
Well done.
I think Sean McVay probably would have liked to have rolled Matthew Stafford out to the right and get him moving on the run and have 2 routes and then have him take off and try and get that 1 yard. But you can't do that with Stafford. And so I think that kind of limited them in their play calling ability. This team, man, they're battered and bruised for the second year in a row more than anyone else, and somehow they're 4-1 now.
Well, and the Rams have only themselves to blame. You had a blocked extra point.
Yeah.
You got ugly late. You had the Williams fumble. The poor play call on 4th down. Right call to go for it. Poor play call. They forgot about Blake Corum in the red zone. And
fumbled,
and San Francisco made plays. And also one other thing we're seeing with the kickoff rules. What plagued the Rams again at the beginning of overtime last night? They had the short kickoff.
Yeah.
So they had an errant kickoff in overtime, which gives the Niners great field position to start, and they come down and hit a field goal. One thing that I'm surprised is not more of a story in the NFL is we made this big thing about the baseballs are loaded.
Yeah.
And we had the surge of home runs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious that nobody, and maybe Pablo's been busy with Kawhi, that nobody has talked about the kicking balls, because a 59-yard field goal by Pinero last night, it split the uprights. It was like a perfect kick. And we don't even think twice now about guys making anything from 50 to 59. And then if it's into the 60s, we're like, you know what? It's actually a high percentage play.
Yeah.
Well, will anybody bring up the kicking balls?
It already happened.
Okay.
Vic Fangio went on his press conference, I think it was earlier in the week, and just
Vic knows ball.
Vic just straight out
the ball.
Vic straight out said it. He was like, it's kind of ridiculous that they're using these new balls as opposed to the game balls. Here's the problem, though, Vic. The Philadelphia Eagles were one of the main proponents of people who voted for these broken-in balls to be used. So Vic is standing up there being like, this is absolutely stupid. But his team was one of like the main sponsors of like the new rule, which because they got a great kicker in Jake Elliott, who's been a great kicker for a while.
Everybody's afraid of the Eagles. I think I want the Eagles to when are the Eagles going to be hated? You know, they're awful cocky.
I think they're already hated.
Awful cocky. They played with fire in the second half in Tampa.
Well, they played with fire.
People just avoid the Eagles, man. Let's talk bad about the Eagles. We need to talk bad about the Eagles.
We've been talking bad about the Eagles with the tush push. The tush push has been like the number one story through the first 3
I'm
weeks
feeling
of
like
the
more
season.
people are like, oh, I see it. Because then they double down and they get creative out of the tush push. I see what you're doing there in Philadelphia.
Well, they
But
did
good on Vic Fangio. I might change my opinion on part of the Eagles.
Wait, you didn't like Vic? I love Vic. Vic's awesome.
I love Vic when he was the head coach of the Broncos.
I love Vic when he was my DC because without him, Matt Nagy would never have gotten to be able to be a head coach in the NFL for as long as he was.
All right. Did Tim Brando make it to Lincoln? I was kind of following along yesterday. He's doing the game for FS1. He was having some travel issues getting out of Shreveport, like some weather.
Was he actually?
He lets you know what's going on in his life.
Is he
on Instagram,
does he
Twitter?
Give us a time to fly tweet.
He does not do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I hope Timmy B has made it into Lincoln. We'll have plenty on Nebraska, Michigan State at 3:00 tomorrow. Coming up, Brett Ciancia will join us. Lee Sterling stops by. Looked like Lee had a good week last week.
I believe he did.
Was he a 4-1 week?
He did, and he was coming off of a 1-4 week, so he needed the bounce back.
And I wonder if he is going to be in Tallahassee for the Miami-Florida State game.
Tallahassee?
If you're from Florida, you're allowed to call Tallahassee
Or Tallahassee. I've heard that.
Tallahassee, a dirty town.
Is it
like in Florida? Like it's the state capital.
Mm-hmm.
The campus is really beautiful and nice, but the rest of the town, I mean,
got a friend there.
There's a reason they stuck
me up.
There's a reason they stuck Tallahassee up in the Panhandle. Nobody else in the state wants to interact with them.
Is Tallahassee like a good trashy or like a bad trashy? Because there's a like New York.
Explain this one to me.
Okay, so New York is dirty. Like people talk
not
about
as much as it used to be. They've done a good job of cleaning up the city.
I like New York.
But the reputation.
Now, see, this is a Chicago versus New York thing. Pick another city.
Yeah, New York's not that bad.
I don't give a damn.
Pick another
about
city.
New York.
Yeah, you do. You went on a rant recently about hating New York.
It's all about pizza.
And you've never been to New York.
I've never been to New York.
Yeah.
You need to go to New York.
New York. From when I was a kid, and my dad growing up there.
Right.
It's come a long way. It's still a number. It's the largest city in the country. So they got their issues definitely, but it's not as trashy as it used to be.
Okay.
You're a Creighton guy now. You should go to New York this year.
Pick another city.
I don't really know.
Chicago versus
No. Well, okay, fine.
Skokie?
It'll just
Toledo?
It'll be easier to say this. Chicago is it's not as dirty as some cities, but it's still a little
big
dirty.
cities have problems. We have problems here in Omaha.
You
We have a
understand?
sinkhole.
Okay.
We have a bunch of streets that are closed.
Well, that ain't going
Where
anywhere.
we're kicking out the encampments.
But you know that there are some cities that are dirty, but it's like a part of the charm, and it's kind of like it's a part
like
of the brand.
Memphis?
Like, I don't know, Baltimore wasn't necessarily the cleanest place when I went there, in terms of like how it smelled and what it looked like and stuff like that. But it's still like Baltimore, or like DC was a little similar.
All right, I see what you're going here.
I'm just asking, is Tallahassee one of those dirtier cities where you're still like, oh, it's got a little character to it?
No,
Or is
it has no character except for Florida State.
I've never heard anything about character in Tallahassee.
No character. No character.
Have you ever seen there's a great
Morning,
show about Carthage, Texas, and the guy broke down Texas into like 5 different states.
It was supposed to be 5 different
and
states.
he was like, and at one point he goes, then he got the Panhandle, and everybody always forgets about it, and then he just moved on. Is that what the Panhandle of Florida's like? Just everybody kind of forgets about it?
There is, as you get closer to, which this probably doesn't make sense, the whole Panhandle is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It actually, like Jacksonville is southern Georgia.
Duval.
Us Floridians do not claim Jacksonville.
Okay.
And then as you go across 10 in the upper part of the state, you're going to hit Tallahassee.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you start heading towards the Floribama, the Florida-Alabama line,
Get
you're
Destin.
going to hit Destin.
Yes.
And then you got to go to Floribama. You hang out at the bar. I mean, that's that part. Some people may look at a beach town as trashy. I look at it as a beach town as character.
Sure.
Yeah. And there, you know what? There ain't no water around Tallahassee.
Nope.
You got to drive south to get to the Gulf of America.
Hey, is it still the Gulf of America? Are we still having that on the maps? I don't follow this stuff.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
No, it changed.
I just love Destin.
It changed from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And if you've been on that side in Florida since President Trump took over in office, there are signage that has been changed.
This would be a great Take 5, ranking all the panhandles in America. My power ranking of panhandles.
Okay.
I don't know.
I
would
want
have-
this.
I would have to do a lot of studying on said
For
panhandle.
Well, Nebraska's got a panhandle.
I know exactly.
Texas has got a panhandle.
Oklahoma
Oklahoma's got a panhandle.
Oklahoma, Florida's
Florida's got a panhandle.
I think that's. I think we're
That
done
it?
there.
Okay.
Are
there
we
you go.
technically? We're not counting, Manhattan as a panhandle, right?
That's not
'Cause
a
it does
state.
Kinda,
That is not a state.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying but it's a part of a state,
But it's not a state.
It's not a state.
but it's a part of New York.
But New York doesn't have a panhandle.
I was making like a joke.
Now stick
as
to
in-
the other panhandles
Okay, well-
because I would listen.
Maybe
to the
stay
state
away
pod.
from this topic on your next podcast.
I think I need
entry.
to stay away from every topic that isn't football
Okay, that's
or
fair.
sports.
Well, we'll talk football and we'll talk Michigan State football in particular. Graham Couch from the Lansing State Journal will join us. I watched a video. Michigan State's coming. They announced what uniform combo they're wearing. Lots of green for Michigan State. They're wearing the green breeches.
Good for them.
Oh, it's green, white, green. I don't like. They've come here before and they've worn white on white.
Okay.
I like the white on green.
You know me. I don't give a damn what they're
I think
wearing.
it's gonna be a nice little. It's gonna be a contrast. It'll look like Christmas.
Are people still
It
mad?
will not feel like Christmas, but it will look like Christmas on the field
I
tomorrow.
don't know if they win 34-21 like your gut feeling.
No,
It
remember
would-
my gut changed. It went 34-23, and my gut has changed a little bit. Took a little medication this morning, and it churned some things up there.
Oh, went down.
I
3
may be
points?
going higher. I may be going lower.
Does what?
You don't know.
Does magnesium increase your thoughts that Archie Wilson might miss a field goal? So it's now 31-23. Sorry, Tyler or Kyle Kinanen.
How soon we forget. Mike Schaefer
made
joins
kicks.
us at 9. It's also a very busy recruiting weekend for Nebraska. Trey's putting together his class for 27. We'll see what friends he is inviting to Lincoln. That's a lineup brought to you by the Roof Freezer, John Higgins, Weather Guard.
Who's Trey playing? Do you know who Trey's playing this week?
I do not, but he will let everybody know where they can come and watch him. He does a very good job of that.
I still cannot believe that Matt Rule saw Marian Catholic play football. Like
Why?
Marian Catholic is like the butt of all jokes in Illinois high school
but
football.
Let me just explain just something to you about
Sure.
recruiting. Nebraska had a bye week.
Yes,
The head coach wants to go see the best quarterback he has ever recruited. So he went to Chicago. It just happened to be on the schedule. He was playing a very poor team. I don't think he all of a sudden said, wow, give him a 6-star. I mean, you can't pick and choose like what great games you go to. Like,
No,
hey, tell me what your
no.
best game is, Trey.
No, wait.
Wait a minute. We have the night before we're in Maryland. You know what? I'll come.
I'm not saying that I'm like dissing Matt Rule for watching Marian Catholic. I know
Hey,
why he
A
went
lot
out there.
of times those coaches are there because we see them a lot. You know, we're doing TV of coaches that'll pop in. Like assistant from Fresno State was at Elkhorn last week. They're just there to be seen. It's not like
Sure.
they're changing their opinion. Well, that's Sutko kid.
Well, I'll tell you something right now. I don't
People
think
should
in
be
the
changing their
history,
opinion about Jaden Sutko, by the way.
I don't think in the history of Marian Catholic
Yeah.
football, a Power 5 coach has ever gone to see them play football. And there was a story being like, "Whoa, I actually went to go and recruit this guy, and then I ended up getting this guy." Those guys suck.
Yeah.
Now tonight,
Most of the time, the coach is on their phone. They're just there to be seen. They like make sure that their prospect sees them, and any other guys that they're looking at, you know, they give them a once over.
Trey plays a massive game tonight because Carmel Catholic is 4-1, which I don't know if they've been 4-1 in the last decade. They play Montini Catholic, who is like a powerhouse.
Rivalry goes way back.
No,
There's
I
some
don't think
bad blood.
There's not a rivalry between
Yeah.
Carmel.
It's
and
not on the
Montini.
level of Prep and Central where you would make a poster
I saw
comparing
that.
the Notre Dame Miami rivalry. I get it. Bruin Steve said a quick search yields that there are 9 panhandles in the United States. Welcome to football, everybody. This is what we do on a Friday. Alaska, Connecticut, Florida,
okay.
Idaho, Maryland,
Connecticut.
Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, West Virginia. So the Idaho panhandle
There you go.
must be upside down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't the one that goes like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So there you go. You
This
got
is
your
correct.
podcast. It could be a series.
No, we're going to talk about 80
5-part
today
series.
on Take 5.
You could talk about
Mhm.
Jackie Childs.
I think it's okay if Aiden Childs is the best player on the field tomorrow.
Well, as long as the second, third, fourth,
Nebraska
and
can
fifth
still
best
win if
players-
he's the best player on the field.
I think Dylan Raiola was the best player on the field against.
Well, I
Michigan.
think Nebraska has a quarterback that the matchup will be in favor of Nebraska 12 games this season when Dylan Raiola is the starting quarterback.
Better? You want to say better than Drew Aller? I mean,
I said it, and I'm not backing away.
It's incredible how we look at a player when he's 6'5".
We do. We like size.
Put it on the hot take.
All
board.
right. Baseball was good yesterday. We had a dingler and a schlitter. That's how good baseball was yesterday. That's how good a Football Friday Fiesta will be. We have lots to discuss. Also, we have buried this all week. There is something bigger. Maybe, I'm not going to say bigger than what's going on in Lincoln tomorrow, but it's going to be one of the bigger sporting events of the weekend.
Are you talking about Ankalev Pereira too?
I am not. Talk about that on your podcast.
No, nobody gives a damn about the UFC.
Sunscreen tomorrow. Wear a snapback and make sure you latch that one on. And also, I've learned more about how wind can affect football from one of our listeners.
How about
I'll explain. They gave me a full breakdown. I'm like, wow, can we go be weather weenies together? There is some science behind being good in football in the wind.
Hey, I actually brought you up on Take 5 yesterday.
Really?
2 days ago.
That's
Because
nice.
I was like,
Did I get tagged? I didn't see it.
no, I didn't.
Can you send me a
tag you.
clip?
No, I'm not going to send
Where
you
do
a
I go to
clip.
find this?
This is what do you mean? Where do you go to find this? You go to my podcast
Honest
page,
question.
Take 5 podcast page, or
Yeah.
you go to youtube.com/1620 the zone. You'll see the Take 5 episodes. I said my co-host Gary Sharp, who is really big into weather,
That
has
would
his
be
own
you.
radar and everything, informed me that the weather was going to be a big deal, and so then I talked about weather for 5 minutes. So
Next
kudos
time we
to you.
talk to you on Monday morning, we got a cold front that's going to be coming through the area, so the temps are really going to drop.
Mhm.
You're going to see Sunday morning, things are going to change around here.
Is
Okay?
this-
Small chance of rain.
Is this your tryout to take over for Jack?
No. How about Jack doing his last day at KTV and nobody that is regular is on the show with him?
Really?
Yeah. I was
That's
like,
a
come
damn
on.
shame.
I go, you want me to stop by?
You should go.
You dressed like this?
I bought you a gift, by the way.
That's right.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
reveal it. I'll reveal it's a tease.
All right. Hey, it's a Friday. It's a Football Friday Fiesta ahead of Nebraska, Michigan State, Iowa State, Cincinnati, Pavia, Manziel against Alabama. And is the U back? Only if they go to jail. All right, we're back with more of Gary and Matt with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, even Chicago White Sox fans can celebrate happy beers in Wrigleyville. There is joy in Wrigleyville. The Cubs are moving on. It was loud yesterday. You know, when things are rolling there,
Very loud.
people were on top of it. You got PCAs coming to the plate, and you got the Beastie Boys, Sabotage, his walk-up song. You got Ian Happ, who can't hit a lick. Did you see what he did for the fans in the bleachers yesterday?
No, I didn't.
So,
What did he do?
potentially last game at Wrigley Field, and Ian Happ, who is he's a Cub.
Oh, big time.
He's established himself. It'd be nice if we'd be more consistent at the plate. But you know what? Kyle Tucker arrived yesterday. PCA kind of arrived yesterday. The defense has always been there. But Ian Happ went out in the first inning, and he had a baseball with a rubber band around it, and tucked inside of the rubber band was $200 with a message, whoever catches this, pay it forward, buy beers for everybody in the bleachers.
Hell yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. That's another thing about, I said it on Monday, how far this team goes. They are very likable. Mm-hmm. I'm enjoying them. They're good people. And now it's on against the Brewers.
So before we get into like super competitive, screw the Brewers baseball talk, I love how Ian Happ, when he goes out there to left field, he does he says hi to all the fans, and he puts his hat up, and he does that. I think that he's carrying that forward. Or I would love to ask him this if I ever got the chance to interview him that, but it was Schwarber who always did that, and who was really, and when I was at Schwarber's game when he first came back for the very first time, and he like did the same thing where he put his hat up and he said, I love it when, because the bleachers mean so much to Wrigley, when the outfielders acknowledge the bleachers and they say hi to
Sammy
bleachers.
was one of the first that I saw do that. Well, the Hawk.
Yeah.
When Andre Dawson
That's a
started
good
in
point.
Chicago in the 80s.
Damn.
But I just
he was
love
on to
the Hawk.
recognize the thing. We don't have bleacher creatures. We just have snake builders.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a massive snake, by the way.
It was. That's what it was. But you know what? You don't crush that. You add to it.
By the way, what does $200 get you for beers? Like 10 beers? Like, I don't even think you can buy.
That's probably
I
about
don't
right.
even
Yeah,
think you can
that's
buy a
fine.
whole row in the bleachers with 200.
That's okay, but it's still it's the
The thought that
gesture
counts?
Yeah.
gesture that counts.
Yeah.
All right.
Like Secret Santa.
I don't want to bring this up because I have respect for the Brewers, but they are 19-21 in their last 40. Game one of that series, and the 4 LDS is pretty good. The baseball has been really good, and we had 3 winner-take-alls yesterday. But let's be honest, it's all about the National League. The best series will be the Dodgers and the Phillies, then the Cubs and the Brewers, and then the Blue Jays, Yankees, AL East fatigue, and then Detroit against Seattle.
Watch that be the best one.
Hey, Detroit is. I'm sure they got the last laugh and that blowing the divisional lead. They come back and they win in 3 in Cleveland, but they were 28-41 down the stretch in a bad division. What they did against Cleveland has not changed. That I don't think the Tigers are in a good spot. So go M's. So baseball begins 4 games on Saturday. Tomorrow is a great viewing day. Whatever baseball, football, or whatever you may be enjoying. Okay, so I was being sarcastic at the beginning of the show. I know that's a surprise.
Shocker.
And
Not
I'm
you,
gonna,
Gary
I'm
Sharp.
going to ask you because you study this stuff.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Nebraska is a large favorite.
They are.
No. When you say 11.5, you would know this. Is 11.5 large?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
For interconference Big
Okay.
Ten
All
play,
right.
yes, it's big.
So the last 5 games in the series have been decided by 5 points or less.
Yes.
Are you guys in for the red hunt for October or 4-0-tober? 4-0-tober?
I like
Is that what we're going with?
Yeah.
Is 4-0-tober?
4 in October.
What is the appropriate line for this game according to Mixed Sportsbook?
According to Mixed Sportsbook, the proper line would be 8.5.
Ooh.
Okay.
I guess 7.5.
Is that, and that's where it started, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I think I think that Nebraska should see how I judge the lines is like what they should do, and then the margin of error for like if they are better than what you think they are, right?
Okay.
And so
People in Vegas are smart.
I think Nebraska should win this game by a touchdown.
Okay.
Like this should be a 7-point victory for Nebraska, and then you have to kind of funnel in my opinion, the matchup. What is Michigan State good against? What is Nebraska bad against? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their history between these two teams? I do think, honestly, that Vegas might look at the last 5 appearances or 5 games between these two have been within 5 points. That could be a trend, right? We're all about trends in betting. This should be an 8.5. I just think
I got a young Jim Feist sitting next to me. I like this.
11.5.
Remember when?
What 11.5 communicates to me is that Nebraska is going to essentially control and dominate this entire game, that they like from the get-go,
I
from
can see
the
that
first
happening.
quarter.
So is it the hesitancy here? And I'm just curious. I'm picking people's brains. It's 11.5. The total is 50.5. So it's gone back up. The wind's gone down by a mile or two.
Yeah.
So the total went back up.
Yeah. Down to 36 instead
Is
of
a lot of the head-to-head stuff tell you that Nebraska has a significant advantage.
Yes.
Why can't we embrace that and just go, you know what?
Right.
Nebraska had a one-off. They played Michigan, who's a good team. Nebraska's not on Michigan's level, but
maybe the Huskers are good.
They're better than Michigan State. Anybody out there say, you know what? This line seems right. I mean, I think it's going to be tough to find.
I think it might be the only
one. But this is just an interesting discussion all week. The line, and Nebraska hasn't been a double-figure favorite at home against a Power 4 team very often. I don't know. I've been very curious on the discussion about, well, that line is way too much. Why don't you say, you know what? Vegas knows something. I mean, you're disagreeing with Vegas?
I don't. Well, I disagree with Vegas.
A win
lot.
likely, a cover maybe not. Is that the general sentiment here? Okay.
Oh, I think for sure. Now, I think the reason why I don't think 11.5 is a proper line is because if you're going to control a game, you have to have a run game and you have to hold the ball. And you have to.
That's where. And keep going.
And you have to be more physical than the other team, and you have to enforce your will on the other team. And like I think of Nebraska. No offense to their offense. I think their passing game is really good.
I think that's very offensive what you just said.
No, but
no offense, but you guys aren't physical.
I think if they don't have a run game, the way they win a game by 11.5 is if they absolutely gash them in the pass game and they score like 40 points and they keep throwing the ball. I don't think they can do that.
I like where you're going here, but let me give you something.
Okay.
So this a question that'll be answered is, does Nebraska have a Michigan problem? They're just not on that level yet. Okay. Or is Nebraska still Nebraska, which you thought in the first 3 games? Because, hey, what if Cincinnati wins this weekend? You're all of a sudden like, whoa. By the way, ranked teams go to Nippert Stadium to lose. Remember Arizona State last year?
Greg Paul.
Put that on your card. So Nebraska's coming off a game where total, you got to mix in the sacks. 43 yards rushing. It's the lowest total Nebraska had in rushing the football in 7 years.
Wow.
Okay, so Emmett Johnson is one of the top players for me because I think Emmett will get his touches. And there's a guy named Waymon Jordan who had 20 touches, over 200 yards total offense for USC. USC ran the ball whenever they wanted to, and they ran for 289 in that game. Okay?
Yeah, good call.
USC's run game may be better than Nebraska. Yes, it is. But this also shows you Michigan State in the lines, like I think their linebackers are probably the best part of their defense, and it's not overwhelming. Yeah. Like Hall doesn't go, oh, man, that's an All-American. So that's why I think Nebraska, a sign of, whoa, is Nebraska going to have a hangover now? Nebraska comes out and runs the ball at will, which I think they have a possibility to do, and Emmett has a big day running and catching. Then I think there's where you get that concern that you had, and we're talking about Nebraska having game control.
So you bring up Jordan Hall. I think that he, to me, is one of the most important players, if not the most important player on Michigan State's defense. He's got 2 sacks this year. He had 15 tackles against Boston College. I don't know, so you look at Michigan State's their rushing defense, right? Their success rate on defense against the rush actually is pretty high. It's 29th in the country. It's 35%. Now the vanilla stats, like you talk about, they don't really play into that advanced metric.
They look lost trying to defend the run against USC, lost in trying to figure out where the play was going.
They were not good.
Lincoln Riley was kind of in his bag last Saturday.
I don't know though. I think for me,
2 Saturdays ago,
when talking about, and look, this was all in relation to the spread, right? Like why I don't think they'll cover 11.
But it's turned into a game control. Like if they're going to win by, you win like that, it's going to be game.
It's going to be game control.
So run the ball.
So I don't think I necessarily have I think Michigan State is so bad at defending the run that Nebraska is going to be able to gash them. I just do think I'm kind of scarred from the Michigan game.
We got to get over this.
And them not being successful. But even the Cincinnati game, like I know Dante Corleone was
maybe
a really good defensive
maybe Nebraska
tackle.
has a Michigan and Cincinnati or a Power 4 problem.
But
we're going to find out pretty damn quick, right?
But yes, we are. But they only averaged 4 yards a carry against Cincinnati, and it's not like they were gashing Cincinnati as well, and they were this dominant run game. And so the 2 games that they played against P5 teams that they were trying to run the ball in, they haven't had an incredible amount of success. Now, I think to your point, and I think you are one of the very few people who are saying that you think they're going to be able to cover, or you're confident in their ability to just win this game and dominate this game.
I still have it as like a 10, so it wouldn't be covering.
Sure, but that still is a really good win.
Yeah.
I think that comes more so from the pass game, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would be great for my outlook on the team. I think it would be great for confidence of Nebraska. I think it would be great just in general if they went out and they ran the ball super effectively. I just don't know if this team with the 2 Power 5 teams that they've played is necessarily built to do that.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. These are all the things that we're going to find out. Like, that's why I know Rule used the word opportunity yesterday. And I think it's an opportunity to get away from Michigan.
Yeah.
And like, okay, now you're 4-1. And it's kind of a prove it day. I hate the word must win. I mean, I just cringe at that. Is this a game a must win? Well, you know what? Is tomorrow is Sunday a must win day? But like for Michigan State, I'm sure that Michigan State's hearing all this and people are like down on them and they're like, okay, so they're going to come in here and they'll say, we got a chip on our shoulder, and they're going to be competitive, but they're not going to be like the team that was in Lincoln 2 weeks ago. And they're probably judging themselves and looking, hey, Nebraska, I think is a good team. We're going to judge where we are amongst the meaty middle in our league.
Sure.
Well, Nebraska, the opportunity is to keep it moving, get to 4-1, get a week past Michigan, prove that you're different, that Michigan loss doesn't beat you again. But I think one of the ways to prove it, to say, okay, people, just relax. It's 4-tober, is you run the football. And so I think Nebraska, even though it sets up as Dylan could have a dingle and dangle day and put up big crooked numbers, I think if they come out and they say, Elijah Pritchett, welcome back, and they run the football and they run it to the left side and they just move it down the field, and then you throw when you want to throw, depending on the wind, then you're like, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like for the first time. And maybe the stabilization and the offensive line with Pritchett at left tackle and Gatula at right tackle helps you in this case.
See, you talking like that was very good because it wasn't a promo necessarily, but you kind of got me fired up a little bit because I'm now thinking of the possibility of like, how could this offense be? How good could they be if they actually get a run game? We're already talking about one of the best passing offenses in the country and one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country. Man, if they could get like 5.5 yards a carry or 5 yards a carry,
it'd be a big jump.
And put, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm playing the hypothetical game. But if they could, man, just boost that running game to the point where you're now putting yourself in a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, you're opening up the playbook. Like your menu is massive for Dana, game in and game out.
Look what more for Dana or Dylan.
I think for Dana, I think it'd be because he's the play caller, and I do think that Dana. Do you get the sense too that he's kind of not saving stuff, but he's got more in the bag?
I think he would like to have more.
Yeah,
but they have to be able to run the football for him to have more.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think he's saving anything.
Yeah, I just think
they have options that they probably have not been forced to utilize yet.
They haven't really used motion all that much. And I wonder if that's going to be like a November thing or if that's going to be later in the year.
I think the breakout guy is about to come a star. Everybody learn it's Ja'Cory Barney. I think Ja'Cory Barney will welcome himself to the national scene in the month of October. I think he will have a monster October, and you will go, ooh, man, 5 catches a game seems a little low for him. He's my guy in the month of October. I think it's time to showcase him.
I'm not smart enough to make my own analytic, but I would love for there to be like a knockdown rate or like a yards lost because
that's the only hang up about him.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's that big.
And he's on the little bit itty bitty committee.
Well, when you have like a 90-yard game, I'm not going to get hung up about anything. Like if he continues to play the way that he did against Michigan, which is how that secondary is way more talented than any of the secondaries that are going to play the rest of the year. You're absolutely right.
I'm feeling.
You just can't get hurt. Just don't get hurt, Ja'Cory.
No, anybody don't get hurt, and that's whether you wear a helmet on a daily basis or not. Don't get hurt. Okay. Coming up in the next hour, Brett Ciancia and Lee Sterling will join us on a Football Friday Fiesta. So Dana teased, you're going to see something you've never seen before. Well, what we've seen before is Demetrius Bell is hurt again.
Yeah.
So
the hamstring.
Yeah.
And
they were ramping him up to have him be a gadget guy in the offense, and now he is out again. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, one of these things, you say, and rightfully, sometimes they have a hurt problem.
Sometimes hurt guys are hurt guys.
So what surprise are we looking forward to more? Dana tomorrow or Bud Crawford, who has teased a surprise that is coming?
Bud Crawford
has nothing to do with the city of Omaha and the incident that happened last Saturday. It is something boxing-wise.
Bud, because it doesn't exist. This Dana Holgerson thing is a fugazi.
All right. Bud's thing exists because he was with the Turkish guy yesterday.
Berke?
No. Turkey Alashikin?
I don't. Is he Turkish? Or is his
sorry,
first name Turkey?
Mehmet Okur?
He is Middle Eastern. Is that the better way? Okay.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. He took his gloves that he wore in the fight. He took them to him. Yeah.
Really?
And he said, we got something big coming up. What do you think?
It better be a memorial.
He's surprised. Got a surprise announcement coming.
And there's no
All right, Bud.
If it ain't a memorial, I just don't know who I'd get very hyped to watch box Bud. Who's going to beat Bud? Who's going to beat him? He's so good.
That's true. All right, hour number 2 of a Football Friday Fiesta ahead of Nebraska, Michigan State. Good weekend of football. And it's a Matt Rule weekend in the NFL.
What? The Carolina? Oh, no. Baker versus Sam?
Yeah.
There you go. Fond memories?
Put that on
what fond memories? That was a great quote.
Those were
from
2
Baker.
of his quarterbacks.
No, I know.
Yeah, in the COVID camp.
But Baker asked, he was asked, do you have any fond memories? And Baker's like, no, I don't.
Maybe he'll
Great
come
song.
on. Hey, get him on House Rules.
No, God, no. Yeah, Cam Newton, though.
Nah, man. All right. We're back with more of Gary and Matt with Jimmy after this at 1620 The Zone. All right, let's go on a Friday football fiesta. Nebraska, Michigan State, 3 o'clock. Kickoff, FS1. Tim Brando back in Lincoln. Good day of ball. Interesting games. Keep an eye on Maryland. I'm telling you. Keep an eye on Maryland.
I know.
They play at home against Washington. Looks like a bounce-back game for Washington.
6.5.
Looks like a chance for Maryland to be 5-0 before they play host to Nebraska next week. That game will probably sell out. People will be excited for the freshies from Maryland. And Nebraska's first true road game. Will it be a trap game? That's what's coming up next week.
Well,
on Gary and Matt, beginning on Monday.
If Maryland is 5-0,
Oh, well done.
it's not a trap game. If they're 5-0,
Well, people will be like, look at Maryland. But that's an interesting game. It'll be going on at 2:30. Brett Cianci will join us bottom of the hour. Also, Lee Sterling stops by. We have Graham Couch. We're going to talk about Tom Izzo, how long he'll stay at Michigan State. We'll throw in a little Jonathan Smith. Graham, who is one of the best that covers the Big Ten from the Lansing State Journal, always good to the zone. He'll join us coming up at 8:30. Mike Schaefer at 9. I watch things so you guys don't have to, and so I give you a little update.
okay.
The whole Chad Powers thing,
Good.
fraud.
Thank you. All right,
Fraud.
we won't be watching
Absolute fraud.
that.
Not
I could
good.
count on you.
Fraud.
Why? Is it
Because they have a scene in there where they're playing in the Rose Bowl.
okay?
The Rose Bowl has field turf.
Nope, I'm out.
I've been to the Rose Bowl. I've walked on it. It's not field turf. And I saw that and I shut it off.
Care.
I'm like,
Care.
what person
No, I'm out.
Care.
like football knower working on the film said, hey, you're doing a disservice to the Rose Bowl. They have this immaculate grass.
You warned me about the
surface."
bear, and you were spot on there.
Yeah, boom. I'm out. Don't watch Chad Powers. They're a fraudulent movie because the Rose Bowl has field turf. Thank you.
First off,
Thank you. I do things that for all of you that you don't have to. So go about your day and
Thank you.
look, we already went over this. Not a movie, TV show,
Okay.
episodic series. Secondly,
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
I'm out.
I had an episode when I saw that the Rose Bowl had field turf.
so you watch 5 minutes of it,
I was a little bit longer because I was kind of curious.
and then you're out because of turf.
I'd have been the same
I
thing.
was actually looking forward to like your breakdown of like, oh, like Glenn Powell
No.
actually not his best
No.
performance. He's a little bit too geeky in it or whatever.
No,
Yeah.
people don't like my Glenn Powell takes because I really enjoyed a movie that he did that was generally panned.
What, Sydney Sweeney? The Sydney Sweeney?
Anyone
movie?
but you.
What?
I like that
Is
movie.
that the one with her?
you come
Is
off.
that the one with her?
Yeah.
I think that's the only movie they've done together.
Okay.
well, yeah.
Glenn Powell, and also he was brave enough to wear Longhorn gear to Columbus.
Well, yeah, he's a
So
Longhorn
hey,
guy.
I
Do you
love
know
college football fans that are also actors, kind of like myself.
Kyle Juszczyk's you're not an actor.
I was in Diary of Anne Frank in school, and also I was in the South Pacific. What do you mean I'm not an actor?
Wow.
That was
You had
I
the
don't
World
wanna
War
date you.
II
That was a
demographic
lot-
down.
That was a lot of years ago.
Once an actor, always an actor.
I'm more of an actor than you are. I'm 3 times the actor you are
Oh, okay.
because I've been in 3 more plays than you.
You all
You
have
know
your
what?
SAG card?
I don't know
I-
if you know this or not, but the auditorium at Urbandale High School was sold out. Sold
I
out.
didn't get my SAG card, Jimmy, but I did get honored in front of the entire student body for my performance in Shawshank Redemption. I won the actor of the year in the spring awards,
Damn.
and everybody,
Just go on your resume.
How
am
many
I?
people on that list? One?
No, there was about 7.
Never heard of this before. That's kind of a like, hey, you're not going to win any other
Well-
awards in your senior year. I feel bad for you, so let's give you this one.
That probably was the case.
Congratulations.
Do you know how that floated over in an all boys school winning best actor? Like a lead balloon.
Well, it would probably be better than winning best actress in an all boys school.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
would be
good
a
point.
conversation
Mm.
starter.
Yeah. By the way, before we go any further here, let me give a shout out because a lengthy email was sent into the Equitable Bank inbox yesterday from listener Ted. And so I appreciate it. And you can always send us long emails, short emails,
Any
complaints,
emails?
anything, whatever. It's always open. Gary or Matt at 1620thezone.com. Our discussion about the weather tomorrow. So it's going to be warm. We may set a record here
Yes.
in Omaha. So the record is 92. The meteorologists are telling me that it's going to be 91 in Omaha. Why come up short? If you got a chance to go for the record, just fudge it and
gotta make
get
your free
the
throws.
record. Yeah.
Who are you talking to? Mother Nature?
Oh,
Rusty.
No, it's not like the people at Epley that, gauge
Yeah.
the weather, gauge the temp. Out in Valley. So it's going to be warm. The wind's going to be blowing.
Yes.
So Ted sent me an email, and he may be in the weather background. I would love to talk more with him. He broke down wind, how it affects football. And he said, I'm just going to paraphrase because there's a lot of paragraphs. One, Nebraska is fortunate, and I guess Michigan State as well, that there is not a crosswind, that it is a north or souther. Okay. So that's the difference.
Yeah. No swirl.
Okay. Like Nebraska Stadium runs the right way. Nebraska Stadium does not run east-west. It runs north-south.
Yes.
It's always confusing when you go to a place and it runs east-west.
Like Boone Pickens. That goes
Yeah.
east-west.
Oh, like Stillwater, the stadium goes the wrong way.
Mhm.
Okay.
Too much for you to handle
No,
at 7.
these are. I'm
get
gonna
it.
be honest with you guys right now.
We've been there. I mean,
These are things that I've never talked about or thought of or even considered when watching or betting on football. Okay.
You
This is-
should.
No. This is 2 veteran broadcasters who've been in the game long enough to know where the stadiums are facing what ways and whatnot. The
Yeah.
simpleton like me,
We also
I
watch
literally can't tell you where south is right now. Like, I'm pretty sure that's south and that's north and that's east and that's west.
That'd be incorrect. You should have taken some geography
Okay.
classes at Nebraska.
You know what? Sometimes you don't get pulled from the lineup when you go 0 for 4. So we're going to let you go to
Sure.
bat again.
Sure. Oh, you want me to try again and guess which way is
Do
west
you
and
see
east?
a sun
Okay,
coming up over there?
We're at yes.
No sun's coming up right now.
Okay. Yeah. You know why? Because we don't have a window pointing that way.
Yeah.
Okay. That's east.
Okay.
That's west.
Okay.
That's south.
South.
That's north.
So I just got to flip. I was there.
All 4 got flipped. Okay. I understand. Kids these days.
Mhm.
But in wind,
They don't know.
reading through this email, and it's a really good email. The one thing that helps is having big hands.
Matt Rule talked about that.
It's true though.
Oh, he did?
Same with the wet
He
ball.
brought it up in the press conference.
Ted, did you take that from Matt Rule?
Matt
No,
Rule.
he no, wait a minute. This was sent at 11:20 yesterday.
So I think
When did Rule talk? 11:30?
11:30.
Ooh, Matt Rule took it from Ted.
There you go.
Or maybe it's a general thing. I did not know this, that to be successful in football in the wind, you must have big hands.
Rule-
Now, what is Dylan's hand size?
So I think Rule.
Does he have small hands, so
Rule
that
was-
hurt him last year?
No,
Or is he
Rule
like
was
former Charger Gary
referencing-
Big
Rule
Hands
was
Johnson?
referencing Dylan. He was like,
Okay.
all right.
we
We got a quarterback with big hands, so we can spin it through the wind. Is essentially what he was
I
talking.
missed it.
about.
Rule talked for like 6 minutes.
I know. I called it.
Nicely done. Good thing
5
I
and a
didn't drive
half.
to Lincoln.
No, why would
That's
I?
why, you know what? That's why I love this. We need a football game. We're going to get a football game at 3:00 tomorrow and just get to the game. All right, play the game. We can stop talking about Michigan. Now we can talk about Michigan State. And then if Maryland beats Washington, we're going to talk a lot about Maryland next week.
What you don't want to
Malik
talk about?
Washington.
You don't want to talk about the over/unders of how long Matt Rule's going to talk at his press conference? Like we're back in July. Don't you miss July?
I would like the narrative around Nebraska football to be about the results and
Fair
not
enough.
about the jabber in the jaws. Okay, whether they're good jabber and jaws that happen,
They're
because
great
there
at
is good.
jabber and
There's some
jaws.
good info there. I need a football game. Need a football game at 3:00 tomorrow against Michigan State.
Okay.
Need a performance that makes people go, all right, Fortober is still alive.
Your wind email though. Is there any other great nuggets within there that we should know that might affect how we bet
other
this
things
game?
about living in Nebraska in the wind, which maybe I'll save it for November when the wind picks up and it gets a little bit cold and Iowa rolls
Allergy
in on
pill.
Black Friday.
Tomorrow.
See, yeah, that's.
Should have asked him
I'm
when
stuffy this morning.
when Ralston kids do baby powder to celebrate the opening kickoff on whiteout. How does the wind carry it to the TV guys?
Mhm.
Did you look like the ghost?
And that looked like the ghost, but it like my eyes were like itching.
Isn't that supposed to have the adverse effect? Isn't it supposed to make it not itch anymore?
One of
I
the
don't
Home
know. I'm
Alones
not
when
a-
he has
I don't
powder
know.
on his face.
I don't know what you do. You get your freak on, but I don't put baby powder in my eyes.
I'm not a baby powder guy. I like Vaseline. I mean, that's
Okay.
I mean,
Brett
because you put
Ciancia
it-
is
'cause
coming
I
up at the
have- because
bottom
I have
of the,
eczema, so
hour.
I put the Vaseline on, and it's nice lotion and whatnot. And when I get congestion in my chest, I put Vaseline.
Yeah, that
right
seems
here.
right.
Mhm.
You know, some people are putting chapstick on their driver, the head of their driver, to make the ball go straighter and further.
What?
Look it up. It's a trend. I don't know that I would follow it.
Have you done it?
TikTok trend.
No, but it may help actually.
Can you imagine you bring out the birds, bees?
Yeah, can you imagine the people I play golf with and I pull that out? I'd be done.
You play golf with good golfers.
Till you
too.
beat them.
I got scolded at a local club the other day.
What would you do? Pull up to the green?
I don't belong to this club.
Okay.
I'm not flexing here. I had a chance of playing an event. I went into the dining hall
Okay.
and I was wearing a hat.
Gare.
So I didn't take it off.
Fair.
And so the gentleman who is the host, he was very nice about it. And it didn't even dawn on me that I was wearing a hat. And he goes, "Sir, we just ask kindly, can you remove your hat?" And I was like, "I'm sorry."
I mean, it's not a big deal. But you do.
But I got like the older ladies like looked at me immediately. I should have known something was up, that they weren't giving me like the.
Oh yeah,
they were like, boy,
man, they should have seen
the
you.
hat.
They should have seen you when you went up to the free tees. Both hands.
There is a big night of sports, by the way. So we have some good high school football, but the brand of Nebraska volleyball will be on display tonight. We want to take a gander on a Friday night at 7:00 on Big Fox, what Nebraska Penn State does.
Oh,
yeah.
The
Nebraska volleyball brand is on display tonight. The number one brand in women's college athletics.
We played this game, and I'm not very good at it. 150,000, you think?
Let's see. They did Creighton and Arizona did over 300,000. This is Big Fox. It's a Friday night.
Yeah. Could you?
I mean,
could do a lot more.
and it's Nebraska Penn State. Now Penn State is 7-5, and they're not. They've had a departure. Izzy Stark is no longer, or is not currently on the roster, but Kennedy Martin, who is 6'6", is still on the roster. And it's still Penn State, and they're playing at home, and they will have a whiteout. It'll be a raucous atmosphere. Nebraska will go into the little venue that Penn State plays home volleyball in. The Nebraska lost last year. Creighton lost in the game to go to the Final Four. But Nebraska's number one. They are the brand. Big Fox could be a big night. Pretty important for Nebraska, in my opinion. Go in there and win. May take 5, not get rattled, and the big guns play like big guns. Because Nebraska, I don't know. We want to fast forward to the postseason.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Nebraska's playing well, but it's almost like it's not good enough. Like Texas, I think Texas's resume is better than Nebraska's, but Nebraska remains number one. Tonight's a nice night to go in there and just take care of business.
It was really curious when Jalen Reyes was talking about the Kentucky game, and he did not say this. He didn't say, "Oh, I wish we lost" or anything, but he did kind of allude to, "Hey, it might have been good for us if we, faced this adversity and we weren't thinking, oh, are they going to go undefeated or whatnot." I just think that this is a Penn State team for the last few years that has had Nebraska's number, and it's almost as if players who haven't been playing well for Penn State throughout the entirety of the season, they play Nebraska, and all of a sudden a flip a switch, and they end up looking like All-Americans. Caroline Juravicius to be one of them, the former Nebraska player. So it'll be fun. I'll watch it tonight. Be enjoyable.
You won't watch it tonight because you're part of the Millard South Radio Network.
No,
You'll be doing a game.
You do this all the time where you have the game on like another screen.
Pre-game started
down on it. I'll have the game on another screen.
I can do that because I have many years of experience of doing that. I worry about you. Focus. Next thing, John's like setting you up for a comment about a play, and you're like, oh, that was in.
All right, Qui-Gon. You got real serious there for a second.
Creighton, by the way, swept Marquette last night in Milwaukee, and then Omaha over at Baxter swept North Dakota. All right, back to some football. Again, Brett Seance is going to join us bottom of the hour. So the wind, you have to take advantage of, if it is as big a factor. Now, the wind at the top of the stadium compared to the wind on the floor of the stadium could be different.
Yeah.
You got to watch the flags on the goalpost compared to the flag on top of the North Stadium.
No, this is good.
They are.
This is good stuff.
Sometimes they do not match up.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. Big stadium.
So,
but it'll come down to curious on the coin toss. What quarter you decide to take the win. But special teams could also be in play here. Like, does Nebraska special teams have a nice little a bounce back where Cunanan looks good, Archie does Archie things, and you take advantage of the win when it comes to special teams, because the last win game last year against Rutgers, and I think this Michigan State team is a tad bit better than the Rutgers team that was in here last year, maybe more than tad bit. The win did play a factor in that game, and especially with special teams and how you approach special teams. Now, special teams is better.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, oh, yeah, Michigan, the special teams were great. We don't remember the one long Barney punt return. We remember, man, if he could have gotten outside and got the turf monster got him. So I think that's another factor. If Nebraska's going to win, they win in special teams, but they also take advantage of field position, and when they have the win, they use the win to their advantage.
You and I are lockstep. I think that special teams is going to be a major factor because I think the easiest way for you to not worry about your defense getting gashed in the run game is make them march it 90 yards down the field, right? And so good punts, good execution. Gary,
Matt?
and this is not an Eckler thing. This was the guy who was the special teams coordinator last year's thing. I hate how this staff had talked about the wind and the elements in Memorial Stadium as if they were the visiting team.
What do you mean?
Well, like you had Ed Foley last year talk about the swirling wind and like we got to go out there and we got to interpret it and understand it and it's really difficult to kick here and kick there and it's like I just sometimes when they would talk about the wind and I felt like they were talking about it as if they had never dealt with it before. They didn't even know how their stadium reacted to weather and whatnot. And they haven't done that this year. They haven't really talked about it.
No, I think that was fair when they first got here because the weather, now they practice more in the stadium than they have in the previous 2 years. I think that's real. I think if you're not from here,
sure.
And all of a sudden you get to November and the wind is howling in the stadium and that stadium. I mean, look at Rule said, why are we going to tear down the South Stadium? I mean, he was thinking about the advantage of wind during the game. I don't have a problem with that. Maybe did you have a problem like they talked about it too much?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my issue. And my issue too, it came in year 2. Like you had already played 8 games in that stadium with plenty of wind and weather. Yeah, exactly. And this year's special teams coordinator hasn't brought this up. The wind, in a way, for the special teams should be at your advantage because Michigan State is the team that hasn't played there, that doesn't know, how the wind works, the dimensions of the stadium, how it might affect the game. So to me, Nebraska being comfortable with their stadium and being comfortable within the climate should be an advantage because they don't have to react to it as much as Michigan State has to react to it.
Brett Ciancia and Lee Sterling back-to-back in the last half of this 7 o'clock hour. A Football Friday Fiesta ahead of Nebraska and Michigan State. Nebraska-Penn State volleyball tonight.
Be big.
Whiteout at Penn State.
More effective in... Do you know that
Penn State football is on the road? Yeah, that's right. They're at the Rose Bowl against UCLA. I was going to say, is it going to be a big...
It's a blowout out at the Rose Bowl, apparently.
A what?
A blowout. Out. Yeah.
For Penn State?
UCLA social media put that out. They want everybody, all the empty seats, to dress up as blue.
Well played. Well played.
Do you know that Penn State, as a football team, lost their first 2 whiteout games in school history?
I remember watching them. I was in college.
They were 0-2 in whiteout games, and then they did a blue out game and ended up winning that. And then for whatever reason, they switched back to a whiteout.
Is James Franklin still standing on the field just staring into the abyss?
I think so.
That was odd.
I think Drew Aller is still standing on the field, too.
Brett and Lee here in this hour on 1620 The Zone. All right, Omaha hockey back tonight. Exhibition against Air Force over at Baxter Arena. You'll be able to hear Mike and Terry over on News Talk 1290 Coil beginning at 6:30 with their pregame show, 7:05 face-off over at Baxter Arena. Why is your beloved Northwestern Wildcats playing where they're playing Saturday?
What do you mean? They're playing at the Tiny Baby Stadium.
I thought that was a road game.
No, they're playing
Okay.
ULM. They're playing Monroe.
Ooh, they should have
ESPN
moved that to Wrigley.
ESPN has that as a road game.
See, I would
right.
I would be looking it up with you if I didn't get a call yesterday from my parents telling me that they're going to the game.
Oh,
So yeah.
okay.
Dad is super excited. He hasn't been to Tiny Baby Stadium out on the lake, and they're having it's his 40th college reunion.
Okay.
So him and a bunch
Hell
of his
yes.
buddies, I think it's him and like his 10 friends from college, and like they all got
They
together
get
and
silly.
they're going to the game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
ESPN
mom's going, so
yeah.
I don't know if
No, I wrote it down because I don't like to talk about Northwestern football, but you love Northwestern football more than your family.
that's not true.
ESPN had it as Northwestern at Louisiana Monroe, and I'm like, there is no way. I mean, Northwestern does a couple of things that you go, there's no way they're going to that. I really would. It's unfortunate that Nebraska, their 2 off years of going to Evanston,
Yeah.
or when the Tiny Baby Stadium is there, because I would like to see a game there. It does look like a really beautiful setting,
I've heard nothing but
but
incredible
I can't wait to go to the new stadium next year.
Well,
You
yeah.
already got us tickets?
Yeah, Colorado game, baby. We'll put you in the Holiday Inn right on Tui in Central, okay?
We're not staying at your house.
I thought he was staying with you. This was the
I'm
content.
not staying in a Holiday Inn.
We got points. Don't worry. We'll set you up. It's going to be on the McMasters. Don't you fret. We'll put you on the Holiday Inn. I'll sleep at my place. I'll come and pick you up.
No, that is no.
I'll
Okay.
come.
That's not as
I'll come and
fun.
pick you up in the morning at 9:00. We're going to go over to Sanders Diner. All right.
Okay.
We're going to sit in the back right booth with Tanya. She's going to take care of you. Okay. At Sanders, we have a rule. You get meat and you get eggs. All right. Don't get too fancy at Sanders. Right.
Okay.
They got a lot on the menu. It's like a cheesecake factory. Like it's for breakfast. No. All right. You want to get a skillet or you want to get an omelet. Okay. Then what we're going to do, we're going to go over to Colonel Mustard's. We're going to get you a nice little hot dog.
I've been there before.
Okay, we'll take you to Wolfie's then. We'll go to
Okay.
Peterson. We'll eat there. Then we'll go to the parking lot. We'll tailgate it up. We'll meet some of my buddies from Notre Dame College Prep who are also Northwestern football fans. And then we'll go to the brand new stadium and watch Dion and the Buffaloes lose to TBD and the Northwestern Wildcats.
Looking forward to that. That'll be in the brand new stadium.
I
That's
thought he
one-
was
pretty cool.
staying with you. You
That's
guys were going to do
not-
the show from the McMasters.
No.
We should do the show. That'd be such a bad show. The Wi-Fi there barely can support a family of 3, let alone a radio show.
You got a
being played
year
out
to
of there.
figure it
That's my
out.
gift to you.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
my
you.
first gift to you.
Thank
And my
you.
second gift to you is I went to Baker's yesterday.
Did you get an Emo's pizza?
I got 2 Emo's pizza.
Did you have them?
I had one. I haven't had it. I bought one for me, and you'll get yours on Monday. I bought one for
I didn't. I brought it up yesterday because it's unique. I appreciate the gift.
Yes, I bought
But
one
it's-
for you.
It's like way down on my.
No,
list
that's
of
why.
pizzas.
That's why I got it. So
Why
I'll
don't we
give
eat it on the air?
Well, here's the problem.
That's a
I
good idea.
wanted
See,
to
I
give
like
it
how
to
he
you
thinks.
today, and then we were gonna both eat it over the weekend,
Oh, okay.
and then review it on Monday. But I'm a dummy, and I forgot it in the freezer.
So we'll save it for next week.
New
We'll save
segment,
it for
Pizza
next
Club.
for next week.
No. You know how much? And I'm not doing this to like be like, oh, this is how much I spent on you or anything like that. This is more so like
Take the price tag off the gift.
listen. How much do you think this frozen pizza
$12.99.
costs?
Okay, so I'm kind of out of this game. I don't eat frozen pizza anymore.
I can tell.
Probably $10.
It's $10.
Oh,
The frozen pizza game,
Yeah.
for anyone who knows, if they're in it, like I was in it for 4 years. I was all Barron's, DiGiorno's, Jack's, like I in there like swimwear. Like a
if
standard,
you eat too much pizza, you
a
don't be in swimwear.
standard like pizza, I would say, is like
Yeah.
$5, $3, $4, $5. Get a frozen pizza.
What happens first? Jamarian Parker plays, or we eat an Emo's pizza.
We are going to eat an Emo's pizza
Okay.
next week.
Shout out to St. Louis.
Shout out Jamarian Parker.
People have a lot of questions about where is Jamarian Parker.
No, I
We
get
wouldn't be having this discussion, by the way, at running back 2 if he would have arrived and he was healthy and he was in the mix.
and he wasn't on the bike all the time.
He was on the fat kid bike. I know there are injuries. It's part of football. But if you're gonna say, hey, what is one of the bigger disappointments from January 1 to October 3rd? It's that Jamarian Parker has not carried the football yet at Nebraska.
Oh, I would say, I mean, when we got here in January, you talked about him and you were high on him, and you were high on him because you heard people in the football team that was high on him. And then I don't know.
He's a 4-star running back. All the problems with running backs at Nebraska, if you recruit and win a battle in St. Louis for a 4-star, they can't. And he was. It wasn't just a 4-star. Rivals had him as the number 6 running back in the country. You can't come to college and it is you're not. People don't know if you ever get on the field, and that's maybe Nebraska has a running back problem. They're cursed. Who Ozigbo? He just said, "Screw you guys." I mean, man, I had a breakout senior year, but you didn't do me well.
Huh.
Something's wrong there. I want to see him play because I liked him in high school, and the people that I know that coach in St. Louis said, "Yeah, he's the real deal. Don't look at the competition. Don't look at his school. He's a really, really good running back, and he's not." I mean, we're having a discussion about an Ives or a Gadget guy or Mekhi Nelson trying to find his footing, and we're not talking about a 4-star running back that Nebraska got in the class in a position where we should have a 30 for 30 on Nebraska's issues with running backs. Maybe we ought to go back and just call them I-backs. Maybe that'll fix things.
Shouldn't it be a very easy position to break into as a freshman, in theory?
Huh?
Like on the lack of depth that they have at running back, shouldn't it be very easy for you to come in as a freshman and play?
Nebraska had Lacey. Yeah. Didn't make it here. Mizzou had more bag. He left Mizzou. Look what he's doing at Ole Miss. Now they get another 4-star running back. Essentially, Nebraska's starting running back, and thank God Emmett has developed here, and Emmett is tough.
Mm-hmm.
Emmett wasn't recruited by his in-state school as the Minnesota
Player of the Year.
Yes. Okay. So that's what Nebraska got their running back, and it would not have happened if Ron Brown would have said, "Hey, Scott, I think we should offer this guy.
Yeah. I
really like him. I like his tape. Let's get up there. Let's get in front of him. Let's offer him a scholarship." And that's just what Nebraska's running back position has been. And it is a little bit of a rule thing because I don't think they're coached very well at that position. But it's now we're trending on multiple years of Nebraska just having. What are we doing with running back?
Well, I haven't heard Matt Rule.
Thankfully, Emmett Johnson took a big jump in his career at Nebraska.
I haven't heard Matt Rule use the term prehab in the first 3 years he's been here, and he's used it twice in reference to the running back.
Brett Ciancia from Pick 6 Previews is going to stop by next. Lee Sterling as well on 1620 The Zone. All right, week 6 of the college football season. Nebraska, Michigan State. Interesting day in the Big Ten. And around the country, Arch to Pavia to is the U back? Well, who is back? Is Brett Ciancia from Pick 6 Previews. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to break down week 6 with you.
Hey, good luck in balancing, and you're getting used to this, the Phillies-Dodgers NLDS and a full slate of football tomorrow. So good luck to you.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it's Red October out here in Philly. And, yeah, they released the graphic. It shows the month of October. You got all the Phillies games, all the Eagles games. It's crazy. Every day's covered over here. But hopefully they make a nice run. We'll see.
Yeah, it sucks to be in a city of losers. But good luck, because I know you are a diehard Bird fan and a Philly fan. All right, so we've been talking. So Nebraska, Michigan State, as you know, and we'll get to that, Brett, and your thoughts on that matchup, is a 3 o'clock kick. The 2:30 window tomorrow, I mean, you need 2, 3, 4 different screens. Mm-hmm. Let's start in the Swamp. Texas is ahead of the Red River game next week. Texas is Texas. We paid attention to them opening week. We kind of haven't done much with them, but Arch is still there. Now they play Florida, who knows what happens if Florida doesn't win. What's your feel on the Texas-Florida game tomorrow?
I think it might be a close contest here. And, it's just interesting. Coming into the season, these were supposed to be 2 of the most talented teams in America, at least on paper, and it hasn't really come to fruition for either side. Texas, the pass game was completely broken the first month of the season. At one point, Arch Manning missed 10 straight passes and just looked out of sync. So after the Ohio State game, they played 3 non-AQs and took care of business, but still, they've been kind of waiting over in the shadows. We'll see if they're really a playoff contender or not. They for sure have an elite defense. With Florida, same thing, just worse on both ends. I mean, the defense is good. It's not elite. And the pass game has also suffered. There's some injuries at quarterback there. So I think they're going to rally for Billy Napier here. I think it's a spot here where they're not going to quit on this coach. I know that the win-loss record isn't that impressive, but I think you're going to see a close contest here.
I'm going to say this tongue-in-cheek, but I'm actually, and I think I'm kind of being part serious here, Brett, but Alabama plays Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt with a win could end up being like the story of college football if they end up beating Alabama once again. But am I wrong to say that Vanderbilt having a number next to their name might be an advantage for Alabama, considering the fact that when it's a big game and they need to have it and they're playing a great team, Bama shows up, but when it's not, it seems like they falter?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. You talk about the mental side of it, and last year they fell into the trap because they beat Georgia, and it was a huge emotional national game. And then 7 days later, they had to play little old Vanderbilt, and they got caught in the trap there. But this time, there's no look ahead. They're never going to overlook Vanderbilt ever again under Kalen DeBoer, especially the year after the upset happened. It's at home. I think they're going to get their Alabama's best effort here. There's no trapped game like last year. So I think Alabama wins it. Now, I'll say Vanderbilt's a pretty complete team. Great stats, both sides of the ball. Top 10 offensive line run push, top rushing quarterback in the country, one of them. Eli Stowers, one of the best tight ends in the country. So I like what Vanderbilt's bringing. I think it's a better Vandy team, but Bama's going to be focused here. I don't see any overlook.
Hey, on the line, if they took the logos off the helmet, would Alabama be an underdog?
I think it's about right. I'd say like 9 to 10 points.
Okay.
At least that's what Game Grader says. Game Grader doesn't look at the logos, Gary.
Nice.
Yeah, so that one's around 9 points, I guess. So maybe a little bit of a bump. You're right, maybe a 2-point bump or something. But yeah.
All right, I've learned something new about Game Grader. Hey, on a side note about last week with Alabama, Georgia, and Oregon, Penn State. What was more impressive outcome to you? Alabama winning between the hedges or Oregon persevering at the whiteout and that atmosphere in overtime?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I think I was more impressed with Oregon going into that tough environment, one of the toughest in sports, and really shutting down Penn State for 3 whole quarters, into the fourth quarter as well, holding them to 3 points the first 3 quarters was unbelievable. This is an offense in Penn State that has a ton of future pros, 4 all-conference linemen, quarterback getting first-round draft grades. We'll see if that holds. But I was really impressed with them, and they were supposed to be the younger team. They looked like the veteran team. Penn State looked shell-shocked at home. So I think what Oregon did was fascinating, and I think maybe I was a year off. I was calling them my 2026 national champs, maybe we can shoot that up a year here. They look ready to make a run.
So looking here, I mean, it's kind of it's a mess slate, I would say this week. But one game that's very interesting to me, Brett, is Iowa State on the road taking on the Cincinnati Bearcats. Now, I think Iowa State, you look at their past lines this season, I feel like they've kind of been disrespected in a way where I feel like every week we might, they might be on upset alert, but Cincinnati, Dante Corleone might be out for him, but I didn't know back in a couple of weeks ago when we were in Kansas City that we might be seeing a guy who could end up in New York like Brendan Sorsby, because he's had an incredible start to this season. Can Cincinnati end up being a sleeper team here to maybe overtaking the Big 12?
Yeah, they certainly have the offense to do it. I had that Kansas versus Cincinnati game on one of my side screens last week at the noon slate, and it was just up and down the field like a track meet, like the old Big 12. I think they had 1,200 combined yards. And when you look at the final score, keep in mind, Cincinnati had 4 touchdowns called back from penalty. It could have been even higher. I mean, it was a total track meet. So they definitely have the offense to contend here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see about defense-wise. But I got to say, guys, I'm really puzzled with Iowa State. Every year there's a couple teams that I just can't figure out. My formulas can't figure it out. Iowa State is that team this year. On paper, I just don't see it, but you got to respect Matt Campbell. Before, but look at the calendar, guys. It's October again.
Yes.
And, when Beck really shines in the fourth quarter, he really thought he so, I can't figure out Iowa State. They're going to keep proving me wrong, and good for them. I think they're a solid program.
Hey, this Virginia really messed things up last Friday night. They spoiled what could have been an undefeated showdown, top 10 teams. It's still the rivalry game. You learn to hate each team. We go back and we watch old grainy videos on YouTube of the games in the 80s at the old Orange Bowl and how great Miami and Florida State was. Reminds everybody that wide left was a topic and a T-shirt and a brand. First road game for the Canes, primetime game in Tallahassee. Miami's offense has been filthy. They've done work on the ground. Carson Beck, 3 picks last 2 games. Florida State coming off the loss. Does the U make a statement and move themselves into a potential number 1 seed in the CFP by winning on the road Saturday night?
Yeah, well, I'm born in the 90s, which means I missed the 90s as a football fan. I was too young to witness it. And I went back and looked. They played from 1981 to 2005. Almost every single year was ranked versus ranked, 23 out of 27. Unbelievable. And half of those were top 10 versus top 10. So this was like the must-see game every year. I feel like I missed out on a chapter of college football history. But we're going to see a little slice of it here, despite the loss. I think it's your 2 best ACC teams. I think Miami does get that signature win you're talking about. I think that they already have a couple. They have the Notre Dame win, the Florida win. This will just add to their power resume, and they're going to get it done by running the ball. Florida State has struggled at times stopping the run. UVA powered them in the trenches. I think Miami has one of the best offensive lines in the country. So with Fletcher and Marty Brown, they're going to get it done in the run game. And I also love Miami's defensive line. First time in a couple of years that Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesdor, they're both healthy in the same year. They've been banged up. Now they're back together, and got Justin Brown and defensive tackle. This is a great team, great defensive line. I look at Miami with both sides of the ball, good trenches. So I'll go with them on the road there to cover that 4.5 and win.
Brett, I was born in the 2000s, so you and me both in terms of trying to catch up on chapters of college football history. But look, Gary brings up that this game was spoiled by a certain team that had an upset and an incredible field storming. Let's talk about that team, because I think they're playing a very sneaky ACC matchup. Virginia goes at, I believe they are on the road, if I'm not mistaken, taking on Louisville. Just the ACC. I know Miami is at the top, and this Florida State game is going to be very interesting, but it's outside of that, it's kind of wide open, no?
Yeah, I agree with you. And this is there's a couple of these games this week where you have some silent 4-0 teams out there. You don't really know what we have with Louisville yet. Same with like a Houston who's 4-0, BYU 4-0. These are teams that had really easy non-conference slates and have not really been in the national eye yet. But Louisville, give them credit. They outdueled Pitt last week. They won by 7. It was a really back-and-forth game. They overcame a 17-0 deficit. Louisville with Miller Moss at quarterback, another Jeff Brom project, and they're playing pretty well. But we just don't know yet what we have.
Sure.
We do know UVA has an elite offense. They've done it against great teams. Chandler Morris, a huge upgrade from the portal. that was the storyline with UVA this year. They got some money together for the first time in a long time and signed a top 25 transfer class, and it's coming to fruition. So, I mean, UVA, it's like a running back. You go with the hot hand. They're the hot hand right now in the ACC. So I think you ride them until we know what we have with Louisville.
So after Nebraska, Brett, plays Michigan State this weekend, they go and play their first true road game. We don't count Arrowhead because that was a home game for Nebraska. But Maryland is the only unbeaten team left on Nebraska's schedule, and that schedule includes USC and Penn State, just like everybody thought. They are one of 3 FBS teams that haven't trailed all season, according to True Media. Miami and Texas Tech are the other 2. That's a pretty good category to be in, but Maryland is unranked. They've got 64 new players. They play 8 true freshmen. The rest of the Big Ten plays 8 total. They got Malik Washington. They got Shady Stewart, the great defensive end that's a freshman. I'm trying here to put a protective shell of respect on the Terps. I'm off of it if they lose, but Maryland's 4-0. Washington coming off the loss to Ohio State. They got to travel all the way across the country. Does Maryland get to 5-0 when Nebraska goes there next week?
Wow. Well, yeah, nobody saw that coming. And I'll throw Maryland into that category I just talked about, kind of the unproven, the silent 4-0 team out there. And I know they beat Wisconsin pretty handedly, but Wisconsin was going through that quarterback injury. Yeah, I mean, their quarterback, Malik Washington, looks pretty dynamic, especially for a true freshman. He was a local kid from the DMV area. It was a huge signee for Loxley there. Really helped save the momentum there. But, I like Washington better. I really love their offense. That just shows how dominant Ohio State's defense is to hold them 300 yards and 50 points under average. So, they're going to be roughed up a little bit from that loss. I still think they're the better team. Yep. So, this would be a big statement for Maryland. I'll go Washington until they prove it.
Yeah, because Maryland has a penchant for starting out well in September, and then they forget that there's 2 more months of football.
Yeah, they're the September Kings. Them and Texas A&M, and we'll see how they end up in November.
Gary's going to ask you about Michigan State, Nebraska, but before we get there, I have to ask you about this because I love Big 12 football this year. And the reason why I love Big 12 football this year was because I read your preview and you told me that Big 12 football this year was going to be absolutely incredible. And one of the teams
yes, sir.
You talked about, you said we got to put these guys, these 4-0 teams that we don't know a ton about into a group. One of those teams is playing in the Big 12. It's Houston. They take on Texas Tech. Yeah. Points. How excited are you for this one?
Yeah, it's an old Texas shootout, I think. And, but I think only one side will be scoring. I really like Texas Tech here. I think they're the more dominant team. They are one of the best stat teams in the country right now. Top 5, my game grader. Top 10, a lot of metrics. Houston really had to survive against Oregon State last Friday night, and that's an Oregon State team that had been blown out by several teams, including Texas Tech, a common opponent. I do like Connor Wakeman for Houston. I like some of the upgrades they made from the portal. I just don't think they have the talent to match with Texas Tech. So I'm going to go Red Raiders. I think they win by that double-digit spread, and they're going to prove they're the top team in the Big 12. But I agree with you. It's an exciting conference.
You know this. We've talked about it. The Big Ten has got a nice stretch of quarterbacks. Sayin, Moore, Mendoza, Raiola, Childs, Underwood down the road.
Nice.
Now 2 of those quarterbacks meet in Lincoln tomorrow. Michigan State's coming off a game. They got beat 45-31. They hung for a while, but they gave up big numbers on offense, 523. Nebraska's been smarting a little bit, Brett. They've had a week off post-Michigan. The line is 11.5, which also is a topic around here. Your game grader, your gut, what do you think happens tomorrow in Lincoln between Nebraska and Michigan State?
Yeah, I was on the Adam Carricker Chronicles last week during the bye week, and he asked me what the spread should be, and I had it at 13. So, yeah, a little bit, even too high maybe. I had it 13, and everyone was pushing back saying I was crazy. Vegas 11.5. So we're close, but I think that the general sentiment is there. I think what we both see is Nebraska offense that's going to put up big numbers. I think they're going to put up numbers against Michigan State, a front that's been pushed around all season. And look for Dylan Raiola to light it up. I've been supporting him, backing him. I like what they have in the pass game. Saw a quote from Dana Holgerson where he might shift more pass heavy than originally expected. He says, "Give me a reason to run it," and that's at both times a challenge to the O-line and running backs, but then also maybe just going to go with what works. And I say throw, baby, throw with this team. I want to see it light it up and like through the air. So anyway, 2 good quarterbacks. I like Nebraska's total picture better than Michigan State's. I do like Aiden Childs. He can extend plays from the pocket. He's a 5-star himself, but I'm going to go Nebraska here by that 13 that I called for. And, big stack game for Rayola. It's going to get him back on the national spotlight the right way.
I absolutely agree. Any other games, maybe Boise State, Notre Dame, that are catching your attention that deserves more discussion?
Purdue, Illinois, maybe?
Yeah, the Purdue Cannon. We'll look at that one, the Illinois Cannon. But real quick with Nebraska, I'll say this. You've got to take care of October, because this is where, if you want to do the program rebuild, you got to win the ones you're supposed to as a program. And this is no news to the Husker fans. I think they agree. But these are the games: Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, road trip. That's tough. But these are the games, if you want to climb up the Big Ten ladder, you got to win and take care of. So I'm excited to see this. This is a pivotal point. People look at the headline games like Penn State and USC. I look more at these. This is where you really take care of business as a program rebuild. So maybe you guys agree, but I'm really excited to see this October month.
Hey, great stuff, Brett. Have a great weekend, and go Phillies.
Yeah, thanks. Go fighting. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, that is Brett Ciancia, Pick Six Previews. From that, a winner to a guy that is on a roll, 11 straight NFL games on Paramount Sports. The 40-unit play on South Carolina, 4-1 last week. It is our Friday friend, Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing great.
You're doing well. But before we focus on the card this week, just go ahead and express to everybody, if you're a Miami fan, how much you enjoyed Wide Left and the rivalry with Florida State.
Well, after the game, I might have enjoyed it, but there was plenty of games that came down to the last second. So I've actually got, believe it or not, so my next door neighbor has about a 40-foot flagpole, tallest you've ever seen in your life. And he's on the corner. I'm the second house hand. He flies a Florida State flag, and he's got a brick before his house and leading up, a Florida State brick. So, and then right behind me is a member of the 93 national championship team, and he's got a tattoo on his arm, a Seminole with the 1993 championship logo and everything. So, put it this way, when like in baseball, if we ever get the sweep on them, I have 2 brooms that I hang on 2 of the 3 sides of my fence. So a lot of good-natured fun, good guys, but a lot of ribbon going on, a lot of dinners bet for some barbecue, whoever wins the game.
There's a lot of people around here, Lee, that don't agree that you're the member of the 93 Florida State team is a good neighbor. I think you should just get rid of him. But let's start with this game because it's the first true road test for Miami. We feel really good about the Canes. We felt good about Florida State, and then Friday night in Charlottesville hit. How are we feeling with Miami being a 4.5-point favorite on the road in Tallahassee tomorrow night?
So what's interesting is I think everyone should, if they show the coin toss, be zeroed in on that. If I'm Florida State, I'm Mike Norvell, if I win the toss, I'm accepting the ball. I think they want the ball, and they want to try to play with the lead here. To beat Miami, I think you got to make them feel uncomfortable and take them out of that comfort zone where if they get the lead, they just lay on you. They run the football, and they wear you out with that offensive line, other than Oregon might be the best in the country. Problem for Florida State here is Virginia was down 2 starting offensive linemen, and they still ran for 211 rushing yards. So Thomas Castellanos is going to have some plays, dual threat quarterback, can run and throw the football, but he was beaten out for a reason at Boston College. And I think Miami right now, for the first time in a long time, has a really good defense. 2 rush ends, 2 edge guys, number 1 and number 2 in college football at their position as far as based on Pro Football Focus. So I like Miami here as long as it's under a touchdown, 31-23.
Lee, you're on absolute fire right now. You're 4-1 last week on the show. You've won 11 straight NFL games, and then you had a nice little 40-unit win with South Carolina last week too. I'm curious about this one that you have in your card, though. Ohio State -14 against Minnesota. The Buckeyes just looked like a classic dominant team last week in Seattle, and then you had Minnesota, who their offense looked really good against Rutgers. Drake Lindsey looked like he figured something out.
Yeah, well, actually, the line's 24. We had a typo there.
Okay,
that out, but yeah, it's 24 points. Here's the problem for Ohio State. I think Ohio State's really good. I think they're a top 2, top 3 team in the country. They got to come back from Seattle. They're watching film of Minnesota. Minnesota, as your caller said, they're one of these mediocre teams in the Big Ten. And they're not going to be excited when they see the film. They're not going to get, obviously, like playing at home in front of a home crowd. That's great. But Minnesota is a very underrated defense. Their defensive coordinator goes to Miami. They still have a lot of the same components here. They are number 5 in rushing yards allowed, 7th in sacks per game as well. So they can create some havoc and some minus plays here. So I think Ohio State's good. I think they'll win the game here. I know they won 13 straight versus Minnesota, but I think this line's just way too high here. And Minnesota has to have some confidence after coming back from 14 down. I think it was like the biggest comeback at home in like 40 or 50 years, being down 14-0. So give them credit here. They're going to play hard. And I think the final is something like 31-18, but I think 24 points, way too much.
Every year there are teams that keep winning and Vegas refuses to respect, and maybe it's Maryland. Now, you talk about Ohio State coming back from Seattle. Yep. Washington's got to go to Seattle to just outside of the nation's capital. Maryland is about a touchdown underdog at home. What happens here? And also, Lee, Nebraska goes to Maryland next week.
Yeah. So I think Maryland's an improved team. And they went that way and they got rid of Billy Edwards. He moved on because they felt that Malik Washington, a freshman quarterback, is really good. And he is talented. This is his first big test playing Washington. But Washington in the game last week, not only did they lose, they lost their left tackle. He went out of the game. We'll see if he returns, also their best edge rusher. So they want to put pressure on Maryland. They could be not close to 100%. And last year they lost every Big Ten road game. So this is a tough travel here for Washington. Maryland's defense, top 10 in like 3 different categories here. And I think the Washington pass defense is vulnerable here. So Malik Washington might have a big game at home. 6.5 points. This should be like a 2 or 3 point spread. Way too much. Wrong team favored. Maryland wins straight up 28-25.
Turtle power.
You got a lot of Big Ten flavor here. Michigan minus 17-point favorite against Wisconsin, who is floundering right now. Talk about Billy Edwards Jr. He was supposed to be their savior this season. Does the Michigan Wolverines, could they ride the Biff wagon? The momentum created from Biff's tenure and end up winning some more games with their head coach Sharon Moore?
You don't want to mess with Biff. Biff is the guy, and I respect him. He did a good job, actually, on the sideline. Not as good when he was with Charlotte. It helps out when you got better players. But Wisconsin, I was just watching, their press conference this week, their head coach, and, he looks like he's defeated. But I think this might be their last stand here. And I think they're begging you to play Michigan here. Under 3 touchdowns, it looks like a juicy, easy wager here. But the Badgers do play good defense. They're averaging, giving up just 3.1 yards per carry. And I think they might have a chance here. Michigan, the way for them to win is to throw the football. I think Bryce Underwood's good, but they're still a better running team than passing team. Maybe Billy Edwards plays in this game. 2 years ago at Maryland, they went into the big house, and he was the best player on the field. They did lose 31-24. If he's 75, 80%, here he is getting some reps here. I would let him give it a shot here. Wisconsin 6-2 against the spread the last 8. Wow. If they get blown out, their season's over. Probably we see a coaching change, but I think they're going to cover here. The back door is open. Michigan wins 30-17. But the Badgers cover.
Does Nebraska cover? That's a big number. It's been a discussion around here, Lee. 11.5. It's kind of gone up a bit since the original line. Michigan State's in town. Both teams coming off a bye. Both teams 3-1. What does Nebraska do as an 11.5 point favorite?
Well, both quarterbacks combined having good seasons. 20 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. So I think you're going to see both teams air it out. Michigan State is not a runner here. They do need a little bit of balance here, but Nebraska offensive line is going to have to play better. That was just a total disappointment in that game against Michigan. Obviously, Michigan State defensive line not at that level, but I think you're going to see 2 teams air it out here. Nebraska has the better talent, but double digits I think might be a little high here for a Michigan State team that's offense has gotten better over the last couple of years. I think Nebraska wins 31-24 for 4th straight time. We're going with a Big Ten underdog this weekend. I think Michigan State gets the cover.
Lee, your game of the week is my game of the week. I'm showing my partner right now the ticket that I placed at a casino on this. Hopefully, I'll end up on the right side that you're on. How can people find out if I made the wrong bet?
All right. Well, they want to get Alabama and Vandy, be one of the first 10 callers. I think I've got the clear right side here. Just call 800-400-9741. First 10 callers get it for free, and we're on a roll. 11 straight NFL winners. We hit our big max wager in college football last weekend. We have another 40 to 50 unit max wager. How about this? We don't call it October. We call it October. 4 weeks. They use coupon code SAVE200. I'm going to set it for your show only, 2 weeks only, just $397 if they use coupon code SAVE200 at checkout. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
Save 200. Lee, thank you very much. Good luck this weekend and enjoy the Canes. That's Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. By the way, the Wisconsin offense, they average 4.96 yards per play.
Oh, is Marcus Satterfield running that operation over there?
Interesting, that game. They do have the number one rush defense.
Oh, good stat.
Yeah.
I found Vandy at plus 11.5.
Okay.
So I took it. I took it and I ran with it. I might end up calling that number.
All right, end of the show. We'll update you on our contest internally and our picks.
Yeah, here's the update. Gary's kicking my ass. Next update.
Things can change.
They can. How you've made this point system, you've actually made it very advantageous to be down early and come back later.
All right, it is halftime on a Football Friday Fiesta. Graham Couch going to join us coming up in about 30 minutes. We'll talk more. We need to learn more players on Michigan State besides Childs and Marsh and Kelly and Hall and Frazier. Is there anybody else?
No, that's all I got.
Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, hour number 3 on a Football Friday Fiesta. There's Matt, there's Jimmy, I'm Gary. Graham Couch of the Lansing State Journal. Mike Schaefer still to come. We'll talk about leaky yardage. Nebraska's going to lose this game. They give up leaky yardage. They don't tackle well.
Okay.
Frazier and Marsh get loose. Childs runs all over. Fundamentals go out the window. Rex Guthrie looks like he didn't learn anything. And all of a sudden, Michigan State's scoring, and you're like, whoa.
I find it funny when you use sillier terms for stats that already exist. Like leaky yardage is just yards after contact. Just yards just yak. Just say yak, Gary. Can you yak for me?
Well, I think I will yak for you. You ready for some yakage?
That'd be a great segment. Yak for me.
Yak for me?
And then it's like the angry runs, but the wide receiver edition.
Like one of the, it's always a possibility that you're going to lose because it's a 50-50 proposition. You're either going to win or you're going to lose because we don't have ties in college football. College football greater than the NFL.
Steiner.
If Nebraska does not get a lot of yak yards, like in this game, if they don't get a lot of yak yards,
get a little phlegm. We need a little phlegm.
I'm telling you, Barney is the breakout guy. They will encourage Barney to continue to be aggressive and maybe take some chances. I mean, he'll learn from where he fielded the punt against Michigan. But if they're not getting a lot of yak yards and Michigan State's keeping them in a box and making plays, then that just starts to add up. So
Sure.
I think leaky yardage for Nebraska, not making proper tackling, because we need to find out if Nebraska this is an issue of tackling all of a sudden. And then if, like wide receivers not, having additional yak yards or Emmett Johnson.
You've watched the tape. Your impression on you have
run through it.
Well, that's my bit, not your bit.
Sorry.
Not all bits can be your bits. Your impression, because I feel like I'm not trying to get on anybody here.
Okay.
But we've
Go
done
ahead.
this whole like Aiden Childs is a really good quarterback, and I've been saying it since the beginning of the season from what I saw last year. Your impression though of your tape, of the tape that you've seen him. Like what have you taken away? Do you think it's
a lot different from last year? He's matured in his second year.
Big time.
I think he's a really good ball handler. That's why I used the thing yesterday when I asked Sip about the best point guards in Michigan State history. He's not Magic. He's not Mateen. He's just Aiden. They don't have a lot of weapons.
No.
Like they're a little bit limited offensively, and their offensive line is a little bit of a sieve. But he is, does Nebraska use a spy on him? How many design runs does he have? Does he get loose? Does all of a sudden they take shots down the field because Michigan State running the ball has stayed on schedule, which would be another thing that Nebraska is going to lose. Michigan State's on schedule with the run game, so they can afford to take deep shots down the field. They just don't have a plethora of offensive weapons, and a lot of the focus is on him.
Yeah.
I think he will get his a little bit in the running game. Does Nebraska lose that streak of not allowing a pass of more than 20 yards in this game? It's just, is Michigan State willing to take cracks downfield? I don't think they can if they can't stay on schedule rushing the ball.
See, one guy that I like, we talk a lot about Nick Marsh. They do have another wide receiver, Kelly. I think it's
it's kind of a hybrid.
Yeah, he had 133 yards last week. Omari Kelly, he had 133 yards last week against USC. His long went for 75. Granted, he's got 313 yards in the season. Most of them came in the last game where there were times where I thought USC, their pass defense was being a sieve. For me, the biggest improvement that I've seen from Childs is last year, and I call this the Chubba Purdy, when his interior offensive line wouldn't do a good job of managing the depth and the interior D line would collapse in on him, he would like run backwards. Like he would just, he wouldn't manage a pocket. He would just sprint and then, that would turn into sacks. It was really ugly last year against Oregon. He's improved that drastically. He's way more calmer in the pocket, like you mentioned, but I still think like old habits die hard. Like if Nebraska can collapse this depth a little bit, if they can get some push on the pass rush and just make Childs a little bit more uncomfortable and collapse the pocket, I think that's going to be the key. Because what you talk about, you can't let him go off schedule, right?
I think it's helped them that they played two quarterbacks already that can do things with their legs, and Sorsby, and also, last time out against Underwood. There is high school football tonight, so it's a good night of ball because Nebraska Penn State volleyball at 7 on Big Fox. And then there is high school football. The Millard South Radio Network will be on the air at 6:45?
Yes, that's when we go.
Not noon?
No, 6:45.
You guys do a monster pregame?
We have a 15-minute lead up. We
Okay.
do
Live
both
animal.
coaches' interviews by John Schreiner, who does an incredible job with those. And then you get to hear me break down ball for like 30 seconds.
Sorry, I'll miss you. I'll be at the game of the year so far in Class A tonight, where I'll be able to reminisce about the 1960 game where Prep feels like they got screwed by Central when the game was played at Rosenblatt. I'm glad that this rivalry is back. But back to Millard South on the
Yes.
Millard South Radio Network.
Yes.
Um,
I can't deny it.
What-
We do a lot of Millard South games.
what happens?
Just lean into it.
What happens with the radio network? Do you guys take the next 3 games off because
You should get a quarter step.
no?
Look good on you.
I think I don't think this is out of the realm of possibility that this is the last game tonight that Millard South plays before the playoffs.
Oh, you think there might be forfeits after?
Lincoln High, North Platte, Benson. Why would North Platte?
Come.
Yeah.
Did-
Why? Lincoln High last year already. Benson
Didn't
has
Ben-
had a nice year, but by the end of the year, what will be the numbers for Benson? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that this is the last night that Millard South plays before the playoffs.
I think that Millard South is kind of in the realm now where their best competition might be on Tuesdays at practice.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I I'm probably going to get hammered for this. I like watching Millard South play from the standpoint as they got an abundance of really good players, and I think it's unfair. I mean, I'm not oblivious to what the Class A postseason could look like,
Yeah.
especially with a team as dominant as Millard South. I think it's unfair to the other teams just to diss A, because Central got a huge win at Westside. Westside ain't going to go away. We have a great game on TV next week, Westside and Elkhorn South. Elkhorn South quietly is doing Elkhorn South stuff. They just go about their business, and people are like, oh, Elkhorn South is unbeaten. Creighton Prep having their best year since 08. They're unbeaten. So they're outside of Millard South. There are some good stories in A.
Yeah.
But B is probably the place to find where the better stories are of what that postseason is going to look like. But I wouldn't be surprised if the next 3 games are off the books for Millard South.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head in terms of we are not necessarily paying attention to maybe other great things that are happening in Class A, because at the end of the day, it's not there's no such thing as a foregone conclusion. Okay. But they're really, really good, and they're beating everybody by 70.
It would take a lot to beat Millard South on a regular night. I mean, you'd have to have the ball in plus territory a lot.
Maybe food poisoning
and I don't even think when they played Kearney, they had the ball in plus territory once. I think they got the ball over the 50-yard line. Like Millard North did it, but they did it against their backups.
By the way, Millard South's defense is the one that stands out to me. That they are loaded offensively, but their defense has been really, really good. But the game of the night tonight, and I get to welcome Central grad. So all you prep people out there, make sure you focus in on how much Central talk there will be from Connor Happer over on Cox. I love this. So this is a long rivalry.
Yes.
That since I moved back to Omaha and started doing games on TV, it has not really been that great because they've never like coincided with being good at the same time. Like back in the day, this was the rivalry. Hell, they were playing at Rosenblatt. Okay. I think the last game, well, it might've been the Nighthawks. But the Central Prep game in 10 might've been one of the last events at Rosenblatt. So it just coincided with the famous 1960 game, and Doc Schinzel over at Prep was able to, have it work out because the Nighthawks weren't playing, and so they played the game at Rosenblatt. But Central Prep is like one of the storied rivalries, but this is the first time in like over a decade that they've been this good at the same time.
Sure.
Now, last year, Central scored with a second to go to win the game, but Central just beat Westside, which just to put this in perspective, Westside had not lost to a OPS team since 17. They had not lost at home since 19. They had not lost a regular season game since 22. So what Central did last week at Phelps to go in there and win is pretty impressive, considering there are times where Central walks in and they got all this talent. They got Torrey, future Husker Torrey Pittman. They got Yasir Grigsby, who is a dude. They got Caprice Keith, who is going to Iowa State. So they got a lot of talent. And then they got B.J. Newsom, who I really, really like as a quarterback for Central, but they end up shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
There's flag after flag, and they're like, oh, my gosh. They won the football game at Westside. But Prep, and you saw them last week.
They were good.
Prep quietly is 5-0. The last couple of years haven't been so good at Prep, and they've gotten guys that have been playing now in Coach Young's system for a couple of years, and they're 5-0. They're a legit 5-0. They haven't been. Well, their 08 team was unbeaten in the regular season. I imagine this is their best start since 08. So I'm glad. I'm glad that the Prep Central, and awesome. I hope for the weather's going to be great. I hope for a big crowd at Burke tonight. I'm excited. I haven't been to the new Burke to do a game. I've been to the ceremonies to cut the ribbon at New Burke. But I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's good for the city. I hope there's a lot of people there tonight. But those are two teams. And by the way, whatever happens in this game tonight could really mess with the point standings. Oh, like the Class A, because of the forfeit by Millard South, that they had a forfeit for the game in Vegas. The points in A will be fascinating. The bracket will be really peculiar. There may be some teams that think they're in the postseason now that might
not make it.
I'm looking at the city of Lincoln. Might be a little light in the shorts for playoff teams out of A in the capital city.
I want to apologize in advance. Creighton Prep.
That's a good idea.
Creighton Prep's defensive coordinator. His mind is his
Moose.
Name, Moose. Yes, I know, but I don't know his real. I don't know his actual name.
His
Coach Moose is how. No, we refer to him as Coach Moose on the broadcast, but I don't.
Why don't you call him by his first name?
What's his? Yeah,
Brian.
Brian.
Do you know Brian's story?
I don't. I haven't met him. I haven't talked to him.
Brian is a former Husker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, longtime college coach, has come back to Prep.
So
back in the day, I got to tell you this quick story.
Go ahead.
Because Brian Monson is who we're talking about.
Okay.
Moose. So this is how far Nebraska's video department has come.
Okay.
It essentially, not Husker Vision,
sure,
but filming for Nebraska, it essentially was two people. It was Moose and Brian Carpenter for a while. It was, and now there were a couple others, but those were the two main guys. And that's where I got to know BC and then Moose.
Yeah.
I was like, there should be more people are on the video crew, but they essentially they were the two guys.
Yeah.
So Moose is he's got a really good defense. I got some athletes over there.
So we were talking to
Brian, yes,
Papillion LaVisca's coach Sean McLaughlin, who I'm a very big fan of, and
you're a big fan because he's tall.
Yes, and
you like tall people.
He's a great dude, and he loves football. And we're talking about the Millard South game, and then we're talking about his game last week, and he goes, "Their DC Moose was crazy." He goes, he was crazy. His game plan.
His game plan. I thought you were saying real life.
No. He was like, his game plan was absolutely incredible. It was really, really good. And then Coach McLaughlin, that's why I like him so much, runs up to the board. We're on a video call. He runs up to the board and started drawing out what Creighton Prep did against them and everything like that. I just want to get you pumped up and excited because he was Coach McLaughlin was incredibly complimentary of Creighton Prep and the game plan.
Big fan of Moose. Coach Yonk. A really, really good staff, and the addition of Tim Williams, who was the head coach at Papillion La Vista. That's going to be a great game tonight. If you can't make it over to Burke, we'll be on Cox. Two bald guys will be on Cox. Two guys that have faces made for radio will be on your television screen tonight.
Well, I don't.
So Happer's making his debut with us. We're excited.
That'd be awesome.
We're making Sloppy Joes. The truck is making Sloppy Joes because Happer's on the telecast
at Odson's alma mater. They should name the stadium.
Are you guys going to do an Odson should be in?
I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to Connor to slip that in there.
What do you?
Josh Otson Field at Burke Stadium.
He's got to do it. He's got to slip into Josh Otson.
Not a Burke game. Hall of Fame. Not a Burke game.
But Connor can slip it in.
Yeah, people are like, who? No.
What do you mean? It's great for the show.
It's great
for the station. Show. Great for the station.
Great for the company.
Great
company man. Company man.
Great for Josh Otson's mayoral campaign.
Mm-hmm. But if you've not been over to Burke, the place looks great. Good job, OPS, in putting that all together. So enjoy your bowl tonight. And
I thought you said bald.
Bald is beautiful, according to some people.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
You like bald and tall people.
I mean,
what else would you want?
Bull from Night Court, what else right up your alley.
I'm complimentary of bald and tall people. Because I wish I was tall.
And then short and people that have hair, you are derogatory towards?
Yeah, I hate myself.
Okay.
Well, all right.
That kind of escalated a little bit.
Damn.
That's what I am. I'm short and I got hair. For now, it's coming off. There's a reason why I wear a hat every day.
It looks good. Stop it.
I'm using
beautiful beard.
Already I'm using Japanese oils and stuff like that to keep my hair.
Clydesdales will be in Lincoln tomorrow. Graham Couch from the Lansing State Journal that joins us before the hour's over. Mike Schaefer as well. There is a big recruiting weekend for Nebraska. Trey's bringing his friends in town to see if they'll say yes.
I hope none of them are from Marian Catholic.
Well, get to see one of them tonight. I'll be very interested to watch Torrey Pittman.
Big game.
He was better against Westside. That's gonna be a fun game tonight. Coach Mackey at Central, Abdul, Mario Henderson, David Horn, Jamar Dorsey, who is one of my favorite people of all time. It's gonna be a fun game. I'm glad that in this city we got Central Prep is back and it means something. We'll have that game on the Cox and of course the Millard South Radio Network tonight. They come your way. The Patriot pregame show begins at 6:45.
We do a bunch of teams across the metro. Just for whatever reason, in particularly early in the slate, we got Millard South.
Well, they also are playing other teams.
Jason Ryan, I'm trying to help Papilla La Vista here, but it's the Millard South Radio Network. Good people out there. I saw Jason last night at Ralston.
I love the setup we got at Papillion. It's one of the best setups. They give us food. They're the best.
Tradition Field is great. We're back with more after this on 1620 The Zone.
Look in my eyes. What do you see?
All right, week 4, the 4-quarter pick'em is officially open. Go to 1620thezone.com, make your picks, and you can get a piece of the prize.
How do we do, Matt? We doing
What
well?
are the updates in the 4-quarter
I'll
pick'em?
go and look.
Am
You
I
did-
winning?
I can look right now. I think you did. I think Gary, off the top of my head, you went 6-4 last week. Jimmy, I
That's
did
not very
not.
good.
I did not look at yours.
Thanks a lot.
I went 4-6.
Oh, that's why. You
That'll
just
help
gave up.
with the
4 and 6. Has anyone gone that bad in these things since I've been here?
Yes, they have, Jimmy. Plenty of people. Multiple people went 4 and
I
6.
don't.
yeah. No, not everybody goes 4 and 6, but it does happen. Somebody last year went like 2 and 8.
Let's see.
Yes, I do remember.
I went
that.
4 and 6. Connor also went 4 and 6. Jimmy, you went 8 and 2.
Oh,
Jimmy's pretty good in this. Didn't you win it 2 years ago?
I think so.
What
I'm
did you
still
get?
waiting for my prize.
Well, go to 1620thezone.com and fill out the registration form, and you might win something.
All
I'm trying to add up.
I'll sign up the
full
apprentice.
totals. Gary, you were 6-4.
Okay. Don't forget, busy weekend of football. Nebraska, Michigan State at 3. Graham Couch going to join us here in a little bit. Big Red Overreaction after the game.
Yes.
So we're looking at about a 6:06 start for Big Red Overreaction on the Zone and the Keg. It'll be Connor and Matt.
Yes, it will be. Happer Sportsbook. It'll be fun. It'll be
And
2
then
hours.
don't
4 and
forget
6 and 4.
Sunday morning's Severe Reaction. Michael Severe, who stopped by the Blur Tailgate pregame show, and take a picture with Michael.
Yes.
Take a selfie. Put your arm around Michael. Michael likes to be touched. So we'll see. We'll see if Michael is there tonight. The Central Band will not be playing, but there's Central Prep over at Burke. That is from 8 to 10 on Sunday morning. I actually like his NFL team this weekend as a 2-point favorite because everybody is on the Giants, forgetting that Jackson Dart is playing his first road game down in the Superdome without Malik Neighbors, and the Saints might be bad, but they can't be that bad. Okay, that's how I'm assessing the
The Aints
2025
aren't back.
New Orleans Saints.
That is riveting analysis. As somebody who has rooted for a bad football team his entire life, it can get worse. I'm telling you right now, as soon as you think it can't get any worse, it can.
Buddy Bell
definitely
once told me
can.
that. Don't ever say it can't get
They're,
any worse.
they're a 2-point favorite.
Spencer Rattler very quietly
Is
not
0 and 10 as a starter?
okay. That's not the quiet part. The
Oh, okay.
quiet part is that he actually is having not a good season, but a very decent season. Like he is not the main problem in New Orleans, which is part of the reason Shuck hasn't played yet, even though they drafted him in the second round. And then you're going to have a 4th round quarterback go ahead and play, and you're going to have a mime be that 4th round quarterback's backup.
Just think if you needed a quarterback this year in the class of 2026.
Oh, upcoming?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be very mad, just like people were mad
The
last year.
2027 quarterback class could be really, really good.
Dylan Raiola, Arch Manning, Aiden Childs, Dante Moore.
It'd be really, really good. So the whole thing is don't tank this year, tank next year.
Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll write that email to the McCaskies.
No, you got a quarterback. Why are we
Eh,
giving up on him already?
Yeah, I thought he was coming.
I went back and I watched the tape.
Oh, Jesus. God.
Why?
See the next Eric Kramer?
First off, the visceral reaction from both of you. Yeah, I'm a fan like that.
You told me since I met
gotta-
you, Caleb's coming.
I
Caleb's
gotta
coming.
watch the tape. And secondly, it is kind of my job to assess and have good opinions on certain quarterbacks. I went back, I watched it. Yeah, he was a little slower than usual. Very dinky.
So he's a bust now.
very dinky dunky.
2-2.
Yeah, he should be 3-1. If he played better in the second half against the Minnesota Vikings, they'd be 3-1 and almost in control of the NFC North. But no, they laid an egg against the team that they obviously should have beaten.
Play the Cowboys every week. He'll be the next Jim McMahon.
Well, I don't know about that. A tie against Green Bay, maybe that's the momentum you need.
No.
Dak Prescott is like carrying me to the promised land.
Well,
in my
Dak's been
fantasy
good. I
football
will
league.
say that.
Dak's
I like
been
Dak.
really good.
Dak is like
Dak's
the
good.
MVP.
Just don't get beat by the Jets this weekend. You'll be good.
Don't put it past
Yeah,
me.
I'm me either.
Okay. No faith in the Cowboys.
None.
I don't know. The Jets are bad. And Justin Fields is
The Cowboys have a habit of sometime, yeah.
the Jets are just a bad football team. It's no way to put
You know, that's the one thing every generation here can agree on. We've all said that at one point in our life, the Jets are a bad football team.
In the last 50 years, have the Jets ever really gone on a run where they're pretty consistently good at football?
82, they won 8 games on the road because of the strike. And
Okay.
if it wasn't for Don Shula not putting tarp on the field,
You said the last 50 years?
Yeah. So
Be about
all the way back
55.
to
Okay.
1980.
whoa. Wait, my kid's 5 years old now?
Well, if you go back to 1980 was 45 years ago.
Oh, you said 50.
Okay, so 75.
Math on the fly.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Good job.
Appreciate it. That's what I'm good for.
We'll talk some Michigan State football coming up next.
You round up. 45 might as well be 50.
All right, tomorrow, Nebraska and Michigan State add another layer to a really peculiar series of weird games going all the way back to the 2 games in 95 and 96. But since Nebraska's been in the Big Ten, weird things happen between Nebraska and Michigan State. What will happen tomorrow? It's time to talk to our good friend, somebody who is one of our favorites covering the Big Ten. He's done it for a while. Michigan State fans are very, very lucky from the Lansing State Journal. Graham Couch covers the Spartans. Good morning, Graham.
Morning. Happy to be on with you again.
Let's just start here. Here it's become a topic. The line is 11.5. I don't know how much of a topic it is in East Lansing. Maybe from the standpoint, we feel a little disrespect, got a chip on our shoulder. The line, 11.5-point favorite for Nebraska. Both teams off a bye. You know what you saw the last time out. Feel right or feel wrong?
It feels a little high. It's just based on what I've seen from Nebraska and what I've seen from Michigan State. I would have thought it would be, 7.5, somewhere in that range. But it does seem a little high just because, for all of Michigan State's flaws, and they may be exposed to greater depth than I realized this week. They do have some guys on offense who can really do it, and Nebraska's shown some weaknesses at the line of scrimmage and stopping the run and and running the ball. So Nebraska's not shown itself to be this complete team, and Michigan State just faced what I think was probably a better team at USC and lost by 14.
Graham, obviously here we're in Omaha, so looking at this game, we look at it very Nebraska-centric, and we're very quick to point out the advantages that Nebraska may or may have, on the offensive and defensive end. But from your perspective, being in East Lansing, following Michigan State as closely as you follow them, you look at this matchup, do you think that there is a distinct advantage that Michigan State will have tomorrow against Nebraska?
It's a good question. I think one of the things that is compelling about this game is Nebraska's pass defense has been their strength defensively so far. Now, some of that's opponent based, so to what degree, but still, it's been pretty good. It seems.
Yeah.
And that's the area where Michigan State has guys, like real guys, like guys that are going to play on Sunday guys. So that's and MSU hasn't necessarily had they didn't have any of those. They had Nick Marsh, but he was a true freshman last year, and Aiden Childs was a different quarterback, and they didn't have Omari Kelly, and they didn't have quite the speed in the passing game. And so one of the questions I have for MSU is, do you have the type of guys in the passing game that it doesn't matter the opponent?
Sure.
Because that's what it really takes to be a team that's successful and decent. You got to have other areas too, but you got to have difference makers where the opponent doesn't matter, where they're just a problem. And so I'm curious to see that. MSU's been better running the football this year. They're not. The offensive line is not, gonna maul anybody. But that's a definite improvement. So if that's a weakness for Nebraska and MSU's able to run the ball, I think their passing game will be there. So that's the area I think sort of most curious for me is MSU's passing game able to take advantage of any defense because of its personnel.
Hey, Graham, when Jonathan Smith was hired and on the heels of the Mel Tucker experience, I think a lot of people around here, and I think in the Big Ten said, that's a smart hire because he's somebody that is going to recruit and develop, and that reminds me of somebody that we have a lot of respect for in Mark D'Antonio, 8-8 through his first 16. What's the general vibe of Jonathan Smith right now in East Lansing?
It's mixed. A lot of wait and see. Some people are more out than in. And some of that is wins and losses. Some of it's personality related, wondering whether he's the fit or whether he's a Midwest guy enough or whether his mannerisms are demonstrative enough on the sidelines, really connecting with fans. And you start to connect when you win. So I think that's the first thing he's got to do. And the Michigan game later this month will be really important for him. Last year, he didn't seem to, and he sort of admitted it after, understand just what that rivalry is. He hadn't been in it, and how important it is to MSU fans, and just how venomous it was. He'd been part of Oregon State, and he said afterward it was clear it was just different. There's just more hatred and more. But you have to meet MSU fans where they are in that rivalry. It's the thing D'Antonio did before he won big elsewhere. And so if you can do that, and last year they took a lead, they looked good, and then they were awful in the second half. Then there was a skirmish on the field, and they complained to the Big Ten about some stuff, and the Big Ten did nothing. And so MSU fans were not happy with the way he handled that or their performance. That game has to be handled differently for things to change in the way. And then they just need momentum. And that's the big part.
Hey, that's incredible insight, Graham. Gary and I have been very high in Aiden Childs dating back to the preseason. We actually nicknamed ourselves the Childs Hive because on the station we've just been very. I mean, if you saw last year, right? He didn't necessarily have the best year, and you can speak better to this than I can. But you saw it. Like there were the flashes, there was the athleticism, there was the arm. You mentioned it earlier. You know, he's a different quarterback now. Just what strides has he taken, and what steps have you seen him take from the beginning of the season to where we are now?
Well, a couple. I mean, one, he's got 9 touchdowns and 1 interception, and that was a very different scene last year on that front. And turnovers were a big problem. Part of it was he was trying to do too much, but he also just wasn't. I think he's got a much better understanding of defenses, of going through progressions. He's done a better job of keeping his eyes up, not dropping his head and running at the first sign of trouble, which is a challenge for guys who have athleticism and can do that. And so that's been a big thing. And they've really worked with him on that in the off season. And I think he's gotten a lot better. And I think that's the area where, his picking and choosing when to run and, understanding that you don't need them. I mean, the problem last year, the offensive line was horrible too. So, you didn't have. Now this year, there's been some pass protection issues, and there've been a couple times where you've seen that affect him. But for the most part, he's made good reads and he's made good decisions on when to go. And I think he just looks like a guy who just played a lot more football. And that's with quarterbacks, that's often the name of the game. You're seeing it with Dylan Raiola, right? It's a guy as a freshman, he comes in, all this hype, and yet he's still a freshman trying to play quarterback in the Big Ten, and you just see the steps from year 1 to year 2.
Hey, but with defense, and you mentioned it earlier in a question from Matt, and it is 40 plus points have been allowed against the 2 Power 4 opponents in Boston College and USC. It doesn't matter if it's Jonathan Smith or Mel Tucker, an interim coach or whatever. It seemed like there hasn't been a consistent pass rush. There haven't been those lockdown defensive backs anymore, or at least of late, which we got used to. What is the fix for this defense where it's at right now under Joe Rossi?
They just need bigger, better personnel. Better personnel is it. I think Rossi's a pretty good coordinator. He's got a decent track record. He had success at Minnesota, a couple top 10 defenses. Some of that was a little bit schedule based when he was in the Big Ten West, but still, probably would have been top 20 defenses if he'd been in the Big Ten East or something. It still would have been really good defenses at Minnesota, which has its own limitations to some degree. So, what they have on offense in the passing game, they just don't have on defense, right? And they're going to have to spend a little more, develop a little more, and prioritize that side of the ball. They don't have guys who strike fear into you and can blow up. Doesn't matter. The offensive linemen can get themselves in the backfield, and they just don't have those guys. So I don't even know how bad their defense is outside of that, because it just affects you everywhere. I do think they have some good safeties. Some okay corners, couple decent linebackers. They're just it's one of those things. If you cannot get to the quarterback in football, everything else is a chore. Everything else can look bad. I'm not saying they're great everywhere else, but I think if they had guys who could get to the quarterback, the whole thing would be okay.
So following up on that, Nebraska coming off a loss against Michigan, and I say the name Jayshon Barham, and people in Nebraska have shivers down their spines because he absolutely blew up the Nebraska offensive line last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather. Kind of following, I think I know the answer to the question, but in your opinion, does a guy like Jordan Hall or maybe any of these other linebackers or DNs, do you think they have the ability to maybe take advantage of a weaker Nebraska offensive line, or what you've seen from MSU? Has that not been communicated to you?
Well, it won't look like it did against Michigan.
Sure.
Nebraska fans can rest easy on that. They're coming off a bye. They know this is an issue. I would be very surprised if they aren't really trying some new things in terms of scheme to get there. But the flip side of that is, there's if you send people, and there's a cost for that too. But I do think they will find a way to get home a time or two. The question for me is, beyond the one or two times they get there, it's can they make Raiola uncomfortable? Can they get in the backfield enough? Because if you don't, and there've been too many comfortable quarterbacks against them this year, it's just tough. And I wouldn't bet on them to do it at this point because they just got to show me. I mean, that said, they played their best game of the year last year, coming off the bye at home, but that was a home game against Iowa. So the staff has shown their ability to sort of, find a great moment or a great performance. But it's been such an issue at this point, and I just think it's clear at this point that they don't have enough difference makers up front that I would be surprised. Now they've been okay stopping the run until last week, but so if they can make them one dimensional, maybe that helps. But I don't think they'll be. I don't think they've got to make them uncomfortable. This could be a long afternoon for them.
Graham, as always, we appreciate the conversation. Thank you, my friend.
Anytime. Take care, guys.
That's Graham Couch from the Lansing State Journal. I like Joe Rossi. That's a good hire. He's had some success in Minnesota. What Graham just said there about they were good at stopping the run up until the USC game. And remember, they lost 2 linebackers in the first half of that game. And once that happened, it was Katie bar the door. Be interested to see kind of how much of a tight coverage they have. Their linebackers are their best. But here's the thing. This is where, if you're in fantasy college football or props, and I don't know if you looked at the props on Dylan.
I can.
So against Power 4 teams, they've allowed 7 touchdown passes, and they have no sacks in those 2 games. Okay? And now you got Dylan, who is dinking and a dunking and doing what he's doing, and he's got a chance to really dice up Michigan State.
Yeah.
And it's not just taking deep shots. Remember, the yards in the air is one of the smallest in the country with Dylan. So will they play underneath and just get guys in space? That's why I think Ja'Cory Barney, and this is his month to break out. He got a passing offense that is at 352 a game against a passing defense that gives up 263. Do they just get guys in space? Do they get drag routes with Barney? Do they do different things with him? But Dylan gets the ball out of his hands, or because he'll have more time to throw, you would think the routes are a little bit more of a developed and further downfield, or do they just dink and dunk and it's 1,000 cuts? You move down the field, bang, 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 you're in the end zone. Watch though. Here's where you'll really find out.
Yeah.
Holgerson's scripted plays. Remember the opening drive?
I do.
Against Michigan, there was some variety there. And then you decided to throw a fade. Okay, now you've had a bye week. You're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. It's not Michigan. It's not Barham coming off the edge. The scripted run could be pretty productive for Nebraska tomorrow.
Do you think, and I think they'll do it because they did it a little bit in that scripted drive and it had some success. Maybe have Dylan turn his back to the defense a little bit more. It seemed like on that first drive they were having him do that.
That'd be rude.
What do you mean?
Put your back to the defense?
Well, I'm talking about playing action.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the orbit motion.
So he's not going to stand with his back to the defense when they snap the ball and it'll be over his shoulder and it'll go.
No, ball knower. You know what I'm talking about. When he fakes the handoff or he does that weird little twist and shout thing that they were doing with all the different motions.
Not like Mahomes?
No, not like Mahomes.
He does one thing Mahomes doesn't do.
What? Lose close games? That was too easy. Mahomes doesn't lose close games. Mahomes only gets blown out.
Well, just like Dylan and Mahomes, this is my one connection of the week. Kansas City's record under Mahomes when they win the turnover battle is obnoxious.
Oh, I bet.
It's like either 38-4 or 43-4. But what does 5 mean? But Nebraska, I mean, look at Nebraska's only turned the ball over twice.
Yeah.
They fumbled it once, and then Dylan threw the pick against Michigan. I don't know, or do they just keep it simple? I think they load it up and let's say run the football. They've been hearing for 2 weeks that they can't run the ball, they can't stop the run. That's the elephant in the room. You got a DC that said the elephant in the room. I don't know. I think that they use this game as, okay, we hear what you're saying. This is what we look like. We're not, Michigan's better than us.
Yeah.
Okay, but we learned from Michigan, and we're not on Michigan's level yet, but we're certainly not on Michigan State's level. And we're going to remind you by how we're going to play this game.
I got that vibe from the short press conferences this week. I got the vibe that they were kind of PO'd by what happened at Michigan, and they're PO'd by, the rightful conversation that happened after that game. And I think you've kind of alluded to this, and I agree with you, that like they just want to go and kick Michigan State's ass so we can all shut the hell up about it and we can start talking about the fact that they're a good team that can win 8 to 9 games and they could be competing in November. I think that's what their main motivation is. Dylan Raiola's over under for passing yards 244.5.
Okay. Over.
His over under for touchdowns is 2.5.
Over.
You take the over, it's plus 172. If you take the under, it's minus 235. You can do the alt pass yards where you actually get some really good odds, plus 220. So if he has more than 225 passing yards, minus 180, I don't think is bad value at all. Plus 250 would be a plus 100 if you want to get positive player prop odds.
Okay. Mike Schaefer will join us next. His thoughts on 4 in and 8 to go with Michigan State up. Also, we'll talk some recruiting. We'll dabble in some local recruiting. One of the running backs we'll see tonight for Central, Kylon Haney, has a Nebraska offer. Hasn't had a great start, but played well against Westside. But I guess in Trey putting together the 27 class for Nebraska, he likes him.
Okay. Is it just the world according to Trey Taylor now?
It is.
That's wild.
Why?
He's 17.
It's called peer recruiting.
I never thought that
they were never able to take advantage of building a class with Dylan because Dylan was a late yes. They have a chance to really build up this class. Now, it would help if they won some football games on the field.
Yes.
But they have a Pied Piper who, like, he's saying, I want that guy in my class. And Nebraska says, okay, go get him.
I never thought that the fate and future of Nebraska football would rest on the shoulders of an Eastern Suburban Catholic Conference quarterback.
You were good until you made it personal.
What? ESCC, baby.
You were good until you made it personal. Why can't it just be, it's Trey Taylor?
No, he plays in the ESCC. He's playing Marion
Does
Catholic.
that mean he's not good?
Let's hope in a couple of years he's playing in the Big Ten.
He's going to play Fenwick and Loyola later this year. I might go to one of those games.
Can't wait. What would he do against Millard South's defense? That's coming up in the next hour.
No, it's not.
402-951-1620 on 1620 The Zone. All right, last hour on a Friday before Nebraska and Sparty get together. Don't forget Big Red Reaction afterwards. Severe Reaction on Sunday morning. Lots of reaction to a lot of things with Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7 joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Congratulations to your baseball teams on advancing to the NLDS, where I believe it's the Brewers.
Yes.
So you get to determine whether that 162 games even mattered when they won the division and you took the wild card. How you feeling about it?
Well, I wasn't going to ask you about your team, but you kind of just said everything that needed to be said right there.
I think like every season is different, and it's hard for me to be overly disappointed in a team that basically had no business being in the playoffs with the worst offense or second worst offense in baseball. Obviously, I would have loved to have seen them win yesterday. Anytime I get to see Jose Ramirez play baseball, it's something I want to see. But they just aren't good enough. And so I was bummed mostly because you don't want to see a team in your division win and then celebrate on your home field. But it's nowhere near the devastation of previous Octobers. This one was relatively mild. So I appreciate that. Last fall hurt a lot more because even though they lost in 5 games to the Yankees, it felt like they were in that, and it felt like they gave it away. This just kind of, they're not that good of a team. They lost in a pregame series. You can survive that.
Yeah. I lots of thoughts, but I'm not going to belabor this. Nice run at the end of the year to win the division, but I get what you're saying. Hey, I don't envy you covering recruiting because you ride the roller coaster. I usually don't get, guys that commit and they're 2 years down the road, I usually don't get all enamored with unless they're a guy like Trey Taylor, which is a quarterback. Can you help me with Jabari Watkins? All of a sudden he commits. He's in the class of 27, highly ranked wide receiver. Now we're going to Florida State this weekend, who is one of his Final Four that he just announced like a week or two ago. He is still getting offered. What's this recruitment look like for him and for the class of 2027?
I wouldn't here's what I would tell people. I wouldn't get overly enamored or concerned one way or the other with Jabari Watkins. I think his commitment is very different than the Trey Taylor and the Torrey Pittman. I think he wanted to kind of jump on Nebraska, seize a little bit of the momentum that's going on there. Obviously, there's some enthusiasm and excitement with Trey Taylor and with other guys in his area. I mean, down in Georgia, Nebraska's got quite a few connections, and they're going to have more guys coming up this weekend as well to visit. So I don't want to minimize the fact that he committed, but it just isn't the same. It's not. He's committed, but it's just one of these things where, if Nebraska ends up with him, I think it'd be a pleasant surprise. I don't know that Nebraska's sweating Jabari Watkins one way or the other. That's the other way that I want to phrase this. And I don't mean this as an insult. He's a top 247 player on the current 24/7 rankings, but go look at the wide receivers Nebraska's looking at too. They want to get the best guys that they can, and if Jabari Watkins is part of that group, great. If they continue to recruit at a high level at the wide receiver position, I think they're going to feel good about that too. So it was a commitment that I think caught everybody by surprise. And if you could read the subtext and what I'm saying there, that kind of gets to the whole point.
Look, obviously, I mean, we've been talking about it profusely over the last couple of weeks because of the lack of good performance against Michigan. But the running back position, not even just from a backup standpoint, just an overall standpoint, is a concern. Mike, when you look at these guys that they've recruited and they've got commitments from, do you think there's been a flaw in Nebraska's approach in terms of the type of guys they're trying to go after, the type of guys they're scouting, the archetype of running back? Is there anything that you look back and say, man, maybe they got to change this up in how they have tried to get running back recruits?
Well, I mean, to put it mildly, it's not exactly like they've gone out and gotten the top running backs in the country. You look at what they've done at wide receiver and you go get a Cortez Mills or even Ja'Cory Barney, who wasn't and this is 24/7 Sports is going to feel sick about this because I talked with Andrew Ivins. he was pushing for it, and they didn't make him a 4-star. They didn't put him in their top 247, and they knew how good Ja'Cory Barney was. And everybody did. I mean, Miami wanted him, Arizona wanted him, under Jed Fish and all of that, and Nebraska was able to pull him away. Compare that to Mekhi Nelson or Quentin Ives or Emmett Johnson or Connor Booth. Even Javarian Parker, who is on a milk carton and might be for the duration of the season, and I don't know what that looks like. Even that was a situation where I don't think Arkansas was like all that upset when he decommitted. And that's not to say, I mean, Javarian Parker was a nice kid. He had a great career in St. Louis. It's just there's something there that hasn't or wasn't preferred by evaluators because ratings dropped. I mean, so they haven't went out and landed high-end running backs. And then Kewan Lacey was one of them that they did. And then, of course, they didn't keep him. And then as these things tend to happen, the guy who decommitted and ends up somewhere else is actually now one of the best running backs in the country because that's just how these things seem to work. And so for me, some of it is like, even with the 2026 commitment, and I like Jamal Rule. I mean, they beat out Virginia Tech for him and Michigan State and Boston College, and that's fine. But it's not like they got Brian Bonner or I can't think of the running back from the Kansas City area that's committed to Oklahoma. Can't think of the name off the top of my head. But I think those guys might have been a little bit higher in their internal rankings. But it's just, it's just not the same. Like when you get a Dylan Raiola, when you get a Cortez Mills, when you get Ja'Cory Barney, when you get a Isaiah Mosey, like you look at the teams that Nebraska is beating out there, or a Grant Bricks, or pick whoever in the recruiting. Like it hasn't been that way at running back. And I don't know that there's it's not just EJ Bartle. It's not just Nebraska's strategy. There's been a lot of things that just hasn't worked for them in that regard. I think they've locked in on guys that they thought would develop or play a little bit differently. I mean, we hear the way that they talk about some of these running backs, and then you don't see it necessarily on the field. And some of it is time too, right? Like we don't know what Mekhi Nelson is. And there's a reason that a lot of people were excited about him in the spring and in the fall, myself included. I think that he can still be a good running back. But the idea is that, if you take guys that nobody else really wants, that sounds so terrible when you say it that way. When you take players that aren't as heavily recruited, sounds a lot better. These are the sort of results that you get. It's kind of a middle of the pack running back room, and it's the middle of the pack future at the running back position.
Let's talk about the guys that have to stop the run in the current team, and they're 108th in rush defense. The only 6 touchdowns that Nebraska's allowed this year have been on the ground. What is the right reaction to Nebraska through 4 games trying to stop the run, and what is an overreaction in your opinion?
Ooh, this is fun. Okay, so I think, and this is just me, I think the overreaction is that Nebraska's defensive line is bad and can't stop anything. I think the correct reaction is, as an entire 11, Nebraska has to be better in their run fits, and perhaps more importantly, Nebraska needs to tackle better. Like when you look at it, it's sort of a mirror image of like what isn't happening on offense isn't happening on defense either. Nebraska on offense needs to be able to break more tackles and break more big plays. Nebraska on defense needs to tackle better to prevent those same big plays that are happening to them. I mean, I think one of the things that's sort of fascinating, and this played out on my message board, the last day or so, is the sort of revisionism. If you go back and you look at the Cincinnati game, if they just ran the ball more, they would have dominated Nebraska. That's not true. Like Nebraska's defensive line played well in the first half of that game. There was 2 drives in the second half where Cincinnati was able to put up points running the football. It's not the exact same with Michigan, but Michigan hit on a couple home runs, and otherwise we're chunking at 4.5 yards, running the football. I mean, so you can live with 4.5 yards running the football if your pass defense is going to be this good. What you can't live with is those explosive plays. Brian Christopherson has been posting and tweeting and saying this all week, but Nebraska is the best team in the country against explosive plays this year, except they're the worst, not worst, but they're one of the worst teams in the country against explosive run plays because they've been that good in pass defense, but they've given up, I believe it's 6 rushes over 20 yards or more this season. So, it's one of these things that if they can just sort of dial down or don't allow teams to have as big of a play or as big of a bust, I think the rush defense and the metrics and the numbers are all going to look better. I think it's lying to us a little bit if you just look at the total yardage and or even just the average, because there's 3-4 busts a game that are just killing them. Can you get that down to 2? Cut that in half, and then what does that look like? What does the Michigan game look like if you only give up 2 big runs instead of 3? That's sort of the conversation that I think is interesting around Nebraska's rush defense.
Let's talk about the other side of the ball in regards to explosive plays, because Gary and I have touched on, Dylan's ADOT. While he's been incredibly efficient and has played very well in the first 4 weeks, is his average depth of target is kind of lacking. Do you think that there's a ceiling on Nebraska's ability to create those explosive plays on the offensive
end? It's a good question. I don't know. I think it's hard because they've only played 4 games, and 2 of them have been games where, game flow wise, Nebraska clearly was taking everything underneath against Cincinnati and was happy to live that way. They won the football game. Hooray for them. Against Michigan, how much time could he actually look downfield when he was under siege on 50% of his dropbacks that game?
Yeah.
So it's hard. Like sometimes, we really want to get into these in-depth football discussions, and the sample size is too small to take things like average depth of target. Now, you could counter that with, hey, Mike, let's look at all of his freshman year. Yeah. And I would say, hey, those wide receivers weren't very good, and Marcus Satterfield was his offensive coordinator. And you would say, hey, that's still games. And then we would just be saying, hey, back and forth really annoyingly. But, I mean, I think Nebraska can do a little bit more, be a little bit more explosive. I think he can push the ball down the field a little bit more. Some of that is they've got to block better. I mean, he needs to have time. He needs to be willing to look for it. But yeah, I've been a little surprised for a guy who it was talked about that his deep ball was one of the better ones that you were going to see from a quarterback coming out of high school, that Nebraska really hasn't been able to utilize that. Yeah. That we haven't seen either a Dane Key or an Isaiah Hunter deep shot in the Cincinnati. I guess Cincinnati had the 24 yards, which doesn't really qualify as a deep shot, or even the Michigan game. And some of that strikes me as because of where the offensive line is and also what your offense is trying to do. But do things look a little bit different if Isaiah Hunter doesn't step out of bounds? What was that, a 31-yard touchdown?
Yep.
Or something like that? So, I just think there's a lot in there, and I think it's a little early to say one way or the other.
So 4 games under the belt, and we're thinking about some young guys that have gotten some run and what their increase will look like. Give me what you would like to see in the month of October out of Rex Guthrie and Mosey.
Oh, okay. These wasn't the names I was expecting. Rex Guthrie had an interesting game against Michigan.
He did.
I thought at times he played very well and was in the right position and flashed. I thought at other times he was a redshirt freshman playing in a big game and just completely taken out of a play. Or, and this is a little concerning, athletically, there were times where he didn't look like he belonged on the field in some of those runs. Like he just wasn't able to turn and run in the way that you want. Now, I know he's a good athlete. Nebraska brought him in because he's a good athlete. I just think sometimes you end up looking bad. I'd like to see him playing a little bit more. And that's probably going to come at the expense of Marquise Buford, who's been pretty up and down this year for me. So I would like to see more out of Guthrie because I want to see what that looks like. I want to have a clear picture of what the future of safety is by the end of the year, because you got to replace a couple of these guys. And I think it's a position where we like what they have internally, but I also think it's a thing where you could go portal shopping if you needed to. So it's something to keep an eye on in my mind. And then the other end of it with Mosey, I don't like him as a running back right now. I like him in the Janiram Bonner sort of short yardage role because he runs so hard, but it hasn't looked natural to you when he's taken some of these stretch running back plays, or, it just doesn't, and maybe it hasn't been blocked up correctly. Maybe Nebraska's offensive line issues have caused some of this, but I haven't seen from him the same level of play when he's running the football versus when he's catching it out of the backfield. And if he's better at catching, which he was a wide receiver, I still think that's his position. Maybe they need to lean into doing that more with him, and then keep trying the running back thing. I don't know. That one's a little bit tougher. I could see that either way.
We talked to you back in July when we were going through the Gunner versus Pritchett tackle saga. Remember that? That was great times. And you said, why don't you just play them both? Why don't you have one at left tackle and one at right tackle? It took them 4 games to get there, but they're finally there. Now, Pritchett had the false start against Cincinnati, had 7 snaps, gave up a sack, and had a false start against Michigan, albeit the false start probably shouldn't have counted. Do you think that this is it? This is here to stay? It's going to be from here on out, it's Gatula and Pritchett, or is the door maybe still open for Teddy to come back through?
I mean, I think trying to predict what Matt Rule is going to do with his offensive line has proven to be a pretty foolhardy exercise for 3 years. So there's that. I don't know that it needed to get to game 5 for us to see Pritchett on the left and Gatula on the right. I mean, as you said, this is what I wanted in the summer.
Yeah.
I spoke about it. I've tried to speak it into existence, and it hasn't been there yet. But I think that's 2 of your 5 best offensive line. And I think interior-wise, I like what they've done. And quietly, I think Justin Evans has been really good.
Yep.
Like, really good. Nobody talks about him because the offensive line hasn't played that well. But you don't have to worry about what you have going on at center. I think he gets good leverage. I think he's a good player. And so, I'd like to see that interior helped out more by having Elijah Pritchett out there at left and Gunnar Gatula at right, because I think that's your 5 best linemen. And so my hope is that's what we see on Saturday, but I'm not banking on it. There's just something that's holding Matt Rule back about Elijah Pritchett. And, whether he's being as forthright about it, saying it out in front or not, I don't know. And look, the other thing that we have to discuss here is it's not like Elijah Pritchett's a guaranteed slam dunk success. I mean, he struggled for Alabama. There's a reason he was in the portal. There's a reason that Alabama probably wasn't all that upset that they were losing him. There's also a reason why people had him in the first round of mock drafts this offseason. So there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of question there. There's some inconsistency there. It's more of what can you live with? And I would just have to think that if you put on the film from the Michigan game and you watch as Dylan Raiola had absolutely no time with pressure coming from his right, you have to look at making a change. And maybe it doesn't have to be every play, and maybe you continue to rotate or something. But I just think you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not putting your 5 best linemen out there. The pre-snap penalties, if they get to be bad enough, take them out.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a 5-yard false start and a 7-yard sack at this point?
One final thing here about the offensive line. Are we just into the mode of Nebraska just has 3 offensive tackles for 2025? Those are the only 3 we trust and are going to play?
Well, I mean, what is your level of trust in Tyler Knack and Turner Corcoran at this point? I mean, when you're putting Turner Corcoran in a tight end jersey, that kind of tells me that they don't necessarily, maybe he's Nebraska's Dan Skipper or something, but
Bradley Sewell.
I don't know that, there's a lot to be found there. And also, I feel terrible because I like these guys. I mean, Turner's a great guy. Teddy's a great guy. We've seen years of them struggling at this point. Do we need more evidence that they aren't necessarily high-end tackles, that they struggle to even be average Big Ten tackles at times? I mean, so that's sort of, I guess Tyler would be the one person that we haven't seen a lot in that situation. And maybe that's the route that they go, but I don't know that there's other better answers than the 3 players that we've talked about in Prohaska and Gatula and Pritchett. And that also kind of cuts to, for as much as we've liked what Nebraska's done in offensive line recruiting, and as excited as I am about Grant Bricks and some of these other guys, they get a lot of interior offensive linemen and then ask them to spend their careers playing tackle, and it doesn't go well.
Yep.
And it's not fair to those guys. And so if you keep doing that, and then you keep wondering, hey, why do we struggle with pass protection? Why have we never had a real left tackle in 20 years? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the answer's out there for you. Search harder.
Yep. We've had that discussion before. Shafe, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow in Lincoln.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Have a good one.
Good night, Mike.
That is Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7. He's got Nebraska winning by a little bit over Michigan State.
Oh, I got to do my Husker Max prediction.
When
You're
is
going
that?
there.
What is it? Well, will it be posted by 3 tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see it. I tried getting you in the circle to be in the Husker Max prediction circle.
But
you don't write.
Oh, you have to be a writer?
Yeah. Well, I don't write either now, but they still let me do it. But
seemed a little unfair.
I was like one of Husker Mac's first writers, so I think I get,
Okay.
or at least one of Husker Mac's first writers under the Caleb Henry umbrella that has been taken over. Do you want me to put your score in there for my prediction?
Yeah, we'll do it next week when my Turtle Power team is 5-0.
Are you claiming Maryland?
I think I'm going to claim Maryland, but that doesn't mean that I don't think Nebraska could go to Maryland and win next week. I just don't want people to forget about Maryland. Now they haven't played anybody. Okay, so that's awful. That's
Wisconsin.
They haven't played anybody. And this will be the first team they played, so we'll see. But they're at home. If they're 5-0, people may care about Maryland football because that game's not sold out yet.
I think they should care about Maryland football. They look athletic. They've had really good recruiting classes.
Yeah, but they're great in September, and then October, November, they're like, oh man, we got to play 8 more games. How'd that happen? Like Maryland is a tease in the Big Ten. Like you look at the talent that Loxley has had, and you go, okay, I could see this possibly working. And then for some whatever reason, and we found out last year was about the locker room, it falls apart, and they go from a 3 or 4-0 September, and they're 5-7, or they get to 6-6.
I totally forgot.
But that's a big game.
That's a mess.
It's a good signature game. That almost be keep Maryland on the radar if you get through Michigan State and you go because it'll be an odd game. You don't play out there very often. You're traveling for the first time. Some of those young guys are going to be going to play a road game.
Yeah.
Where it's not going to have there'll be a lot of red there, but it will not be like it was at Arrowhead. I don't know. Just to be, I like games that matter, and it'd be nice to have a little stretch here of a couple of games that matter.
Super important for Washington.
I mean, they all matter, I guess. Your must-win world.
Okay, yes. I asked Steve Sipple if it was a must-win game yesterday, and I don't think
you
laughed.
You and Adam
harder.
Carricker. Handshake meme.
Well, we were having the conversation about the Michigan game, if the Michigan game was a must-win game.
I think every game is a must-win. I actually said Akron was a must-win game.
I don't think that's.
I think Houston Christian was a must-win game.
Well, I mean, yes, because if you lose those games, then the team sucks, and it's like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, if Nebraska had lost to Akron and Houston Christian, they would be a terrible football team because those are 2 terrible football teams. By the way, Washington, how quickly you go from being everybody's like sneaky darling to losing 2 back-to-back games in the Big Ten if they end up losing to Maryland, your Turtle Power team.
Well, that's why I'm a little hesitant because Ohio State is filthy on defense, and they just absolutely handcuffed Washington.
Well, that was a big league win.
So now it's much different competition. I don't know. This is a where are you at in the world of Maryland football to see if they can handle. Actually, people now are starting to talk about them. You brought up Akron.
I did.
I wanted to check on the Zips.
Yeah, how they doing?
They have scored since they played Nebraska.
Good for the Zips.
So they scored 28 at UAB. Then they beat Duquesne 51-7, but they bounced back and they got blown out by Toledo 45-3.
Wait. Did you say bounce back and got blown out?
Yeah, they regressed
to the norm.
Yes.
Okay.
So they're 1-4.
Is Duquesne, is that like a D2 team? How did they lose 51-7? How did that happen?
No. Akron won that game.
Yeah, I know. Where does Duquesne play?
Duquesne is from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Duquesne University, where Norm Nixon played college basketball, is just up the street from where the Penguins play.
Okay. Penguins released their roster and guys to watch. Can you look at that? How do we feel about the team this year?
I'm focused on football. I'm a Ben McDonald in it. Houston Christian is 1-3. They lost to Northern Colorado, 26-23. They have UT Rio Grande Valley, otherwise known as UTRGV.
Yes.
This weekend.
I didn't know they existed until Nebraska played Nebraska basketball.
That's the advantage of following Nebraska basketball. There are schools that you never know about, like Incarnate Word, that all of a sudden they come to Lincoln, or Western Illinois. They come to Lincoln.
Well, okay, Western Illinois, you got to know about the Leathernecks.
Nope.
I mean, you got to know about the Leathernecks.
Nope. I once was around a basketball player as Omaha was going to play at Western Illinois. He got on Twitter. We were actually staying in Des Moines because we were traveling from Vermilion, South Dakota to Macomb.
Okay.
Halfway in Des Moines. And he went on Twitter and he said, "Where are my peeps at? Hey, we're going to be playing in Chicago tomorrow. Come see us."
Oh, no. Oh
Yeah.
Lord.
I mean,
Dude.
technically we were in the same state, but then he also asked. He doubled down and he said, "Well, where in Illinois is Western Illinois?"
Well, it'd be West, wouldn't
Yeah.
it be?
He went on to have a nice little pro career, so you can do the math.
Wouldn't
He just wasn't very good at geography.
clearly.
Yeah, because I also asked him, where is Seattle at? And he said, "Oh, it's in the left part of the map."
See, he's not wrong.
He
though.
was,
He's not
and I gave
wrong.
him credit for that. I told him that. I said, "You know what? You probably would get points for that."
You would.
Yeah.
Like I said, down under. Everybody
Yeah.
makes fun of me when I say
See,
under and over.
Here's the problem with kids, okay? And let's just get it out there.
Are you gonna lasso me into this?
No, you guys are young. You don't go out to drink. You get high. So places,
That's- well,
like good bars. It actually is really good for us olders. They like to go to bars, like real bars that you drink beer. Okay. By the way, I unfortunate Nebraska Brewing Company is closing after 18 years. Really, really good people that run that. But I think your younger set are hurting because you guys like to get high. You don't go out drinking. You stay at home. A little bit expensive. You hold on to your money. Okay.
you're not speaking on behalf of me. You know that.
Yeah. No, you are starting to more. You're like maturing right in front of our own eyes.
Oh my God. Do
So
you mean that?
yeah, I do.
Wow. That's a big deal.
I do.
That's great. Thank you.
So,
That's a good compliment.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best. I'm buying a desk.
oh, great. Great. That's another step towards growing up. Can you be mid-30s by Monday?
No. God, no. I don't think I'm going to be mid-30s by
No.
mid-40s.
Oh, that's scary. It's very, very scary. What was I going there with the bars? The drinking?
People, my generation gets high too much.
Well, that's true. Don't you think
They don't
that's the
drink
case? They don't drink anymore. They don't go out to the bars. And then that's hurting because relationships. You should drink more so you meet more people.
I agree with this. I'm
Yeah.
in lockstep. You heard my escapades in Milwaukee. I had the greatest time in that city.
I just hope the Cubs have the greatest time on Saturday and Monday.
What was
And
their
don't go back.
What was their record against the Brewers this year?
They won the season series 7-6.
The Cubs did?
Why did you almost
Because didn't they start off like 1-6 against them or 1-5 against them? They started off really badly.
A little choppy, but they had a good little run there in August at Wrigley in that 5-game set where they won 3 of 5.
You saw me
Could've won 4 or
yesterday
5.
with Chaz and the whiskey people. I know how to drink. I know my way around a nice glass. Did you see me smelling the cup? I was trying to find the notes, trying to find the cherries and the bananas and the branches and the yolks. I'm a poet and I don't even know it.
We've got our picks. We got our final thoughts. Where was I going? I lost my train of thought. I was
We
on a
get
good
high
little run.
too much.
No, before that.
I don't know.
I can't remember. Okay. But shout out the big fella.
Are you talking about Penguins hockey?
Oh, Duquesne. Duquesne's just up the street.
Okay.
Yeah, PNC.
I was asking if they were like NAIA or D2.
No,
or
they
something
are.
like that.
Well, they're NCAA. They're Division 1.
Okay,
But in football, they're FCS.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how do you lose 51-7 to Akron? Akron is terrible.
It's a good question. It happens.
Akron redefined a word.
Football is, it's a strange game. It's week to week vibe. Like, what will be the mood on Monday?
Happy.
Think so. All right. Final thoughts coming up in the last 30 minutes. That was a great segment right there. Fantastic. Sorry, Shafe. That's going to be on the end of Shafe's podcast. People are like, wow.
That was good.
Shafe turned off the car and the thing just went into a ravine.
I didn't know where Duquesne was.
You should have him spell it.
Duquene. Duquesne.
You had the first letter right. You had
I
the
was
second letter
close.
right. Yeah,
I was
you were close.
Duskq.
Duquesne.
Oh, I forgot an S. Damn it.
It's like Avril Lavigne.
Who?
Exactly.
All right. How about that Pritchett? All right, we're back with more after this.
The Athletes Unlimited Pro Volleyball Championship is coming to Omaha October 3rd to 13th at Liberty First Credit Union Arena. 1620 The Zone has your chance to get into the games 9 and 10 on October 12th for free. Head to 1620thezone.com now to get registered to win 4 tickets.
All right, the Wolf of Pimp Street. Danny Nee and Duquesne.
What up, Don?
Duquesne's got Pitt, Robert Morris, Duquesne, all right there in the Steel City.
Oh, in Pittsburgh. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we were still on
Here we go.
the I don't know geography, Pennsylvania. Have you ever seen that Always Sunny clip where they talk about, isn't it crazy Pennsylvania has 2 cities? Like 2 cities, 1 state. Isn't that crazy? And they're like, no, it's not. It's like, no, you got Philly and Pitt.
Western PA, much different from Eastern PA. I can tell you that. After living there, love Western PA.
I've never been to Pennsylvania. I have taken.
It's clear you haven't been very many places.
Okay, I've been to Florida and all of the surrounding and a lot of those different cities in Florida. I've been to San Antonio and I've been to DC and Chicago and LA and San Diego. I think that's it. And Marco Island like 3 times. That was great. That was fun. Marco Island's awesome.
Which is in Florida.
Yes. I've been in all the Florida cities. That's not true.
All of them?
I haven't. I haven't been to Tallahassee or Jacksonville or.
And so you're not missing anything. You been to Orlando?
I
You
have.
been to Tampa, St. Pete?
Have
Have you been to Fort Myers, Naples? Well, you
have-
kind of have because you went to Marco Island.
I've been to Naples. We did Naples and we did Marco Island. We did.
Naples is overrated, expensive.
I agree.
I'd skip Naples.
I thought Marco was way better than Naples. I love Orlando though. I don't care anybody who makes fun of Disney adults. I'll keep going to Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's awesome. I think it's fun.
In today's Tunnel Talk, there's an interesting quote. So one of Sip's best friends is Jerry DiNardo. Like when Sip needs a column and he's run out of people to talk to, he'll talk to DiNardo, and DiNardo will give him everything he wants. So DiNardo and Urban Meyer actually broke down the Nebraska-Michigan game, and of course they mentioned physicality. There's a quote from DiNardo about Dylan. Quote, I think he's a good quarterback in their system. You know, it's a team game. I'll leave it at that.
What is okay? What is that supposed to mean? I don't even know what that means. Are we now having the Dylan is a system quarterback conversations?
I think he probably feels that way, judging by the quote.
Aren't all good quarterbacks though, in a certain way, system quarterbacks? Like, doesn't Patrick Mahomes play to the Kansas City Chiefs system? Like, in a way, the Buffalo Bills, their system is, hey, Josh, make 2 reads and then take off. Like, every team has a system you have to play within it.
He might mean this. He plays in a system where Dana doesn't let him take shots downfield. So he's a quarterback in this system instead of a guy that could be big boy, big arm, throw it down the field. I don't know. I think this is more of a negative comment. But who knows? You know what? Dylan is not a concern, and that's a refreshing thing. And Dylan should put up major numbers tomorrow against Michigan State's pass defense. I think Nebraska can still win if he is not the best quarterback in terms of the stats. Because I think Nebraska is going to be able to run the ball, and I think Nebraska will have a concerted effort to run the ball tomorrow just to say, hey, for all you people out there, look, we can do this. And maybe Dylan, for Childs,
yeah.
Nebraska doesn't need Dylan to be Superman to win tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State needs Childs to have Lois Lane and Clark Kent together with him at the game.
Well, I think Childs, obviously, look, I don't want to keep talking about the spread, but Nebraska
We're talking about the spread.
Okay, but it's the point to reflect that Nebraska is just the better team, and Michigan State is fighting up against more things, not just on the talent perspective, but also the matchup perspective. And I do think it's great that you don't have to necessarily have to worry that Dylan has to put the entire team on his back in order to do that. I think, though, I give Aiden Childs a lot of credit. If there are quarterbacks in the Big Ten who have the ability to put the team on their back and lead them to a win, I think he's one of them.
Yeah, he has to be.
Yeah.
For them to win football games this year. The Boston College game, he was impressive. He was really impressive. That's why I said, okay, he's matured. He looks different. He looks like the guy we were expecting. Michigan, the game against USC kind of got out of hand, and he was playing uphill because defensively they couldn't stop anybody. USC could do whatever they want. They had 500 plus yards.
I got annoyed watching that USC Michigan State game because I think at one point it became pretty clear to me that
Because
Michigan.
halftime hit and it was 12-17
Yes.
on Sunday morning.
That and well, I didn't bet on the game either, so I wasn't annoyed about anything that was going on. I was more so annoyed about the fact that like Michigan State actively looked tired in the third quarter, and then you had to remind yourself like, oh, it's literally like 2:00 in the morning on their body clocks right now, which is still ridiculous to me that they kicked that game off when they kicked.
I think the sooner this game is put out of its misery by Nebraska, the better. Because I do think Michigan State will come in here, a little chip on their shoulder. They're on the road. If you throw some punches early and get a nice little touchdown, 2-touchdown lead, I think you can maintain that.
I do think that this will be a really good litmus test of like the culture of the team in a way because of how do you respond when you come off of a loss. I mean, they're very unhappy about what happened at Michigan.
Yeah, but the season's not over.
No, it's not.
You're right, but the season is not over. I mean, they get to play again tomorrow.
No, but
I'm so glad because now we can talk about that game.
Well, I think though
they got reminded where they are. That's
sure.
fine. You know what? Sometimes you need a little dose of reality. You need to be a little humbled a little bit. Maybe Nebraska got humbled.
But do you take that?
And they're not going to play a team that's on that level, not on an every week basis.
Do you take that energy that you have of being mad that you thought you were better than what you were and you got proven that you weren't as good as you thought? And do you take that disappointment and do you turn that into, oh, we're going to kick your ass and we're going to reaffirm that we are who we think we are?
Oh, I think you just remind people that, you know what, Michigan was better than us and still only lost by 3, but still lost the football game. And this is who we are. It's the start of October. Rule's been fairly good outside of last year. I mean, they were 1-2 last year when they played Indiana and Ohio State. But he has usually been dealt a nice little schedule in October.
Sure.
And they've taken advantage of it. And now they have 4 games to be 4-tober.
Is it so 4-tober instead of I like 4-tober better than October.
Well, October is for you with your gambling.
Yes.
Yes.
And my Vanderbilt plus 11.5, which by the way, I should send an email to Lee Sterling and be like, hey, what was your pick on the game of the week? You think I could go back up to the booth and be like, hey, can you switch this?
Well, let's see if you ride with that in our contest. We'll do that to wrap up the show next in 1620 The Zone. All right. It is time to pick them. Don't forget, you can get into the four-quarter pick 'em. Go to 1620thezone.com. This is a private contest between Matt and myself. All right. Would you like to explain where we are right now for people that are tuning in on 1620 The Zone TV?
For people who are tuning into 1620 The Zone TV, I can just describe this contest that's going on between you and I as two words, technically. Ass whooping. You are killing me right now. Basically, we pick 3 games every single week. If you pick a game right, you get 5 points. If you pick a game wrong, you get -3 points. Currently, I'm Jimmy. Is it in the thing I sent you?
Should be. Let's pop.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. That's the wrong one, but it's fine.
That's the one you sent me.
No, I just sent you a different one. It's fine. We can just take that off. I can tell you just off the top. So the current standing right now is you have 27 points.
Okay.
Okay. You are 9-6 in the 15 picks that you have made.
Okay.
You are leading. I am 6-9. I have 3 points. So you're defeating me right now, 27-3.
Okay.
It's currently a New England Patriots situation for me. We have not set a time limit in terms of when this ends. You have allowed me to surrender whenever the heck I want to surrender.
Like the Ryder Cup, you feel like I got a gimme?
I don't. Has to do.
Our listeners will decide what the punishment is for the loser.
I don't like that at all.
Well, as long as it does not involve bodily harm.
Or like moving or like doing things that
anything financial. But everything else is out on the table.
Okay, this is the new graphic. Here we go. Do you like that?
All right.
This is what I've done.
Okay.
I'm a Canva queen. I've added in some of the teams. You might be wondering why is Notre Dame and UNLV and Baylor and JMU, why are they all there? These are the teams that we have picked the most.
Okay.
You have picked UNLV, I believe, 3 different times. I've picked Baylor 3 different times. You picked JMU once. It ended up being a winner for you. I think Notre Dame is the highest team with 4 different picks over this escapade that we've done. So as you lead, I will give you the floor.
No. The person that is in the lead, I will let you go first.
I'm going to go with the trap line to begin here. I'm going to go with Illinois -9.5. They're on the road at Purdue. This game, I think, is being handicapped a little bit by history. Illinois isn't good against Purdue for whatever reason. They always end up playing them really, really close. Last year, Purdue went on the road to Illinois. It took Illinois 2 overtimes to beat one of the worst Purdue teams I've ever seen. Still, I think Illinois riding really good momentum after beating USC after a bad loss to Indiana, -9.5. Then we go to Texas takes on Florida. I'm going to take the team total under for Texas. 23.5 is the total. Arch Manning this year has a like inaccurate throw percentage of 18%. That is 132nd in the country this season. Florida actually has a pretty good defense. Depends on if they have some injuries. I think they'll be relatively healthy. If they are, like it under 23.5. And then I'm going with, is this cheating? I'm taking Brian Edwards' pick. I'm doing Vandy +11.5 because I put my actual money behind it. And I think that Vandy and Diego Pavia probably have the number of Alabama.
All right. I will go BYU, 18.5 point favorite against West Virginia.
Okay.
I'm going to go TCU, a 13.5 point favorite against Colorado. And I will go the under in the Giants-Saints game, 41.5.
Okay. Dang it. I hate it when we make the picks and then I immediately think that you might have better picks than me.
Now, where we would disagree on of a pick that I thought about, I think, remember, Illinois is in a slog of games here. They haven't had any time off.
That's true.
You mentioned it. Purdue plays Illinois differently. Last year, Illinois was coming off a big win.
Yeah.
That game went to overtime, 50-49.
Yeah.
Purdue's getting 9.5. Purdue's coming off a bye week. Barry Odom. I mean, Purdue's got some challenges, but they've been at least competitive. And you never know in West Lafayette. You got Illinois has run the high of the last 2 weeks of Indiana and USC, and now they go to West Lafayette, 9.5. We'll see. Maybe a late Illinois score gets it above the total or the line.
I My thinking here, though, is that Illinois always has that one game at home that they just absolutely lay an egg, and it doesn't matter who they're playing. It's 50-50 on whether or not they're going to beat them. Last year, it was Purdue. 2 years before that was when a bad Michigan State team came in and ended up beating them at home. I honestly think I bet this because it's on the road. Because I was like, this isn't one of those Illinois trap games where they're like in Champaign, where this line would be way higher. I don't know. I think Illinois, they've had no shortage of like people who have doubted them. Like we doubted them heading into the year. We doubted them when they played Duke. We doubted them when they played Indiana, and rightfully so. They got their butts whooped, but they were doubted heavily. They were only a 7-point. Were they an underdog last week against USC? Or were they a favorite? I think they were a 7-point favorite. They ended up not covering that game, but it was a really gutsy win. I don't know. I think that Illinois is just a good team and Purdue's bad, and I think that's just gonna how it's gonna work out. I really like my Texas bet though. Arch has not been good, and Texas has been terrible on third down as well.
What is the total? What is the total in that game?
I think the total is 45. Let me see here. I can go and look it up real quick.
So Texas team total was 23.5.
Yes.
In a game that the total is 45.
Sorry, 53.5.
Okay.
Is the total for the game. So we'll see. But I just think that like this whole Arch thing, man, it's just like I'll watch this game. I haven't watched him really all that deeply since the Ohio State game, but even the highlights that I see, his arm angle is off. It's just like he's side arming it way too much, and his inaccurate throws are becoming incredibly prevalent across country.
All right, tomorrow, 3:00, Nebraska, Michigan State. Connor and Matt will have Big Red overreaction right after the game. Will it be a happy beer overreaction? Will it be a sad beer overreaction? Will it be I'll save a beer for later overreaction. Jimmy, you can go first with the pick on Nebraska, Michigan State.
The last one you said, it'll be a save for later, but they're going to win. I'm going to say I'm kind of close to Lee here, but I'm going to say 31-21 with the Huskers getting a touchdown late. They're not going to cover, but they're going to win, and then it's on to Maryland, who I think will win tomorrow. So we'll have a fun week next week.
Relief beer is what I'm going to go with. I think they win 28-24.
Okay, you've stuck with that, so you think it'll be really close. Will it be Nebraska has game control the entire time, or will it be have to score late?
I think there will be a moment in the third quarter where you're like, oh, this is going sideways, and this might be a really, really bad outcome. And then I think in the fourth quarter, they take back control of the game, and Dylan makes a couple of big plays and special team stuff, and then they end up winning 28-24.
I think Nebraska wins 34-24.
Okay. You've stuck with that relatively for the whole week.
I mean, I think if Nebraska does not get into the 30s, there's something wrong. Either the wind really made an impact, or they shot themselves in the foot. So I think 34-24 is what I'm going with. Nebraska will be 4-1, and then on to 5-0 Maryland.
On to the Turtles. Your Turtles.
Hey, that game needs some juice. If Maryland beats Washington, it's got some juice.
We got to get you on the air in the DMV area. Really, really. I mean, I think you might be the only person.
They'd be like, Maryland, Nebraska.
They might be like, what is this guy speaking? We can't understand him.
Ralph Friedgen still coach the Turtles?
It would be if Maryland wins. I mean, you're not going to overlook them. You're going to be like, okay, they played a real team.
Yeah.
And they beat a real team. They're 5-0. People will be talking about Maryland then next week. And then here comes Nebraska.
Is Nebraska a dog if Maryland's 5-0?
No. Okay. Just to give a little more interest to that game. All right. Again, Big Red Overreaction. Matt and Connor will have that coming up after tomorrow, so 6 o'clock or so. Have fun on the Millard South Radio Network tonight.
Thank you. We'll have a great time.
Connor and I will see you on TV tonight for the game of the year so far in Class A. Central Prep over at Burke. Good rivalry. The names, Gail Sayers, Tom Jaworski, and more.
Catholics versus convicts. That's what the Twitter thing said. That's what the Twitter thing said. That's what the Twitter graphic had.
Don't know about that. Good luck.
Everyone have fun at Whiskey Fest tomorrow.
Live, laugh, punt, everybody. Don't worry, I was on a bye week. Have fun, make memories. We'll see you back here on Monday with our reaction to Sparty and the Skurs on 1620 The Zone.